you're not too busy to listen to our stories. We hope you like them all and you don't find them boring. And are you shitting me? Blah!
I wasn't able to make it today.
Right. Holy smokes. Is this happening? Did we finally make it?
Dude, I'm exhausted.
Dude, I know.
I don't know what the fuck you expect from me today.
It was a little rough. What have we done so far this morning? We've gone to Flagstaff. We had breakfast. We came back down. We went swimming. You guys ran across the fucking street with the ice chest.
That'll be posted, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it'll make
some videos.
Yeah, there's some video of that. You guys were official traffic holding up the whole Oak Creek Canyon. So,
dude, I haven't ran like that with I'm carrying a fucking ice chest. It's not light.
No. You were doing good work. Anybody who was waiting on that belt line to get that idler, man, they were appreciating it. If you understand that code.
Right.
But yeah, we took you guys. So the restaurant you went to this morning is called Crown Railroad Cafe.
Dude, it was good.
Oh my goodness!
Fucking good.
Did you have the hash browns?
Yeah, I like half of them, and then I tried almost everything except the pancake.
Oh, I ate the pancake too.
But dude, I could not, dude.
There's so much food. It's so much food. All of it's always good.
I
just wanted this.
The chicken fried steak.
Yeah,
and thank you, Lee, for buying. You guys for buying breakfast for us. Scott and Lee, you guys are amazing. Thanks so much. Scott, for even being on the show. Thank you for taking time out of your guys' day to show us around. It's been amazing. I've been having the time of my fucking life up here in Sedona.
It's been nice. It's been fun, and it's been nice that you've been up here for a couple of years, so you got us all the cool little spots.
Yeah, we're not hanging out with tourists.
No, and Lee can kind of attest to that. When I made Lee an official Arizonan, which is a process. If you're out there, Mary's already there, right?
Oh yeah, Mary's clearly in Arizona.
Lee, the first thing I did was took her back to Stafford fucking High School,
right?
On homecoming, and bought her a T-shirt because she said I don't really have a hometown.
Well, now
and
you
I
do.
said, well, I got a shitty one, but you can
have it. You can claim it.
I said, not only can you have it for real, but you're gonna meet a lot of people there who see in you kind of what I see in you, man. And
right. Well, Stafford's kind of a special place like that.
It is. It's a real special place, full of people and weird, amazing stories, man.
Oh, tons. And I'm really so when we got here last night and I fell asleep in the tent, I was just kind of listening to you and Jason talk. I was in the tent. I was like, this is a little unreal. I couldn't believe the stories that were coming out of any. But before we do that, I came up with 3 questions that I wanted to ask you.
Amazing.
If you thought that they were true or false.
Oh shit.
About Jason.
About Jason. All right.
So you tell me.
Know your co-host.
You know your co-host.
Should I give your audience some background? So Jason and I, we knew each other briefly, 20 plus years ago.
Right.
Well, it was like, I'd say 15-ish, maybe that.
22 years, brother.
Yeah,
I got married on
damn.
July 15th, 2000.
So there's some history for sure.
Yeah.
Well, but then we haven't been in contact and stuff. So
all right,
this is a pretty good blind quiz, is what I'm saying.
All right, okay, here it goes. Jason has online gaming friends that he's talked to for the last 12 years that he's never actually met. Is that true or false?
I think that's true.
No.
No?
No.
There's not like a fucking farm simulator forum somewhere where you're fucking.
No.
It's like Blue Bandana
I only
King
play
2040 or some shit.
strategic war games. That's it.
Not even like World of War, not the Call of Duty, none of that shit.
No. Used to here and there, but still never.
Well, you're at my house before we
really?
left. You were still at the house playing those games. That's what I was thinking. Like, damn, this guy's always. But didn't you tell me that at one point you were like you had some friends that you talked to for a long time on these?
Well, yeah. When I was
games.
in Cabo Verde living there.
Oh, you don't talk to them anymore?
Nah.
Now you do. Now it's out. They're gonna hit you up and be like, you're famous now.
Fuck this guy. He's not gonna fucking claim us.
No.
Yeah.
They won't even know.
Well,
who
hey,
the fuck
quickly.
I am. It's been years.
So here, all right. So
did I get that one true? I got that one right.
You got that. You got it. It's false. He has not. It's
okay.
false.
It's
all right.
Jason has a twin sister on the Seattle City Council.
Oh, that's fucking tricky, man. Let's see. Last time I was looking at the Seattle City Council was fucking never. so I wouldn't recognize the last name. I'm gonna say that one is false.
It is false.
It's false, but I do have a sister, almost an Irish twin.
Yeah.
We're a year and 4 days apart.
Nice.
But,
Yeah.
But she lives in Washington.
Yeah, she does in Washington. That's the only truth to any of that.
There's a loose connection.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so Jason accidentally roofied himself and drove his 2-door Pontiac from Pima, Arizona to Mammoth and woke up in a Mormon church parking lot with no recollection of how he got there.
This is true. It's too true. Even if you didn't do it yet, it's in your future, homie.
Did that happen?
Or good roofies.
Yeah.
I don't remember roofing myself.
Damn.
Dude,
I have ended up like in Globe.
Have you really? So this is like a half-truth?
Yeah.
Wait, you roofied yourself?
But I didn't drive. Somebody drove my car.
You got roofied and somebody drove you?
I was blacked out, drunk.
Have you ever been roofied?
But to clarify,
maybe.
hold on. To clarify, as far as you knew at that time, when you blacked out and they drove you there and then you woke up, you teleported. As far as you were
Right.
aware.
Right.
I had no idea where the fuck I was.
Has that ever happened to you?
Haha. So driving home from the mine, actually, I think I told you guys when I used to work at the at Sulfuric unloading acid dock there.
Right.
So I was driving home and we had done a really long stretch of shifts and our foreman had finally found some relief. And so they're like, haha, you guys get out of here and make some of that money you've been earning, right?
Right.
And I made a joke and I'm like, it's going to be weird to drive home in the daylight. I hope we don't wreck or nothing because at the time
Why would you say that?
Well, at the time it was
seemed like such a bad idea.
Well, at the time, because I'm a horrible person.
You're not though. Like
Get to know me.
Wait, I'm agreeing with him.
No, I'm not. You're not a horrible person in my eyes. But anyhow,
So, no, I understand what you're saying, but innately it was just a joke because we had been so used to coming in. We were in at 3:30 in the morning and
Right.
out at like 7:30 at night, and in the wintertime up there, you're in at dark, out at dark.
Sure.
So I'm like, I don't even know what the road looks like in the daytime.
right.
So, flash forward to me driving past. Some of you know it as Hollywood Road. Shout out Hollywood Road.
Hollywood, baby.
True motherfuckers from Hollywood Road.
Yeah.
So I'm coming up on that exit that used to contain, for the really old Saffordites, where the drive-in movie theater is.
Right.
And at the time, Jacobs was full swing. So there was like a full line of traffic for shift change at this point.
Right.
Coming out of Safford. And I blinked, and when I woke up, I was on the other side of the lane,
Right.
going down the hill towards where it comes back up, and the railroad tracks are right there.
Holy shit.
So I had fully fallen asleep.
And still drove?
Driven across a lane of full traffic. When I looked in the rearview mirror, I couldn't believe that I made it through that traffic.
Yeah.
And no brake lights. No one stopped to check on me. They had to get to work. You know what I mean? Shift change.
Yeah,
You
shift
didn't
change.
kill anybody.
Well, but I immediately, so I called the kid that I worked with, and I said, hey, man, I just drove off the road. I fell asleep and drove off the road. He's like, oh, shit, are you all right? And I said, yeah. Do you mind just talking to me? I'm going to drive on to Jerry's. I was living out in Thatcher at the time.
Right.
So I was just going to drive to Jerry's, have a couple cups of coffee, and then make it on home. But I did. I literally was like, haha, we're going to wreck. And then I was like, vroom.
Dude, thank goodness.
Yeah, well, and thank God, because the Kia wasn't even near paid for at that point.
Oh,
It was
who
an
knows what
expensive
happened.
car.
So did we even get a good introduction?
I was just going to say that as
Okay.
I'm listening to this story. So this is Scott Tomlin. He's originally from Safford. So it's our good friend. Well,
I'm from Lebanon.
Lebanon. He doesn't claim Safford. Lebanon, not the country. It's a street in out
a street.
in our Artesia.
How
It's a
dis-
loop.
Now I know what the real people of Lebanon feel like. You're just dismissing my whole homeland as a street.
No, your homeland. It's in Artesia, but it's not
Yeah,
Artesia.
it is. So
It's-
if you ever find yourself the pleasure of being in Safford,
Yeah.
and you get that really sweet moment in Safford where you're getting to see it through the rearview mirror headed towards the mountain.
Sure.
Right? It's the best view of that city you can get is headed up Mount Graham.
Right.
But on the way out there, there's a little Joby's Market, and then a quick right will take you right to my old stomping grounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Lebanon live.
You could get
A
there
lot of
off
action.
Cactus, too.
There's a lot of action
Off
out there.
Cactus Road.
Yeah.
If
Right,
you're
Cactus
down,
Road, too.
If you're down
got-
that way, stop and see Miss Richardson at Essence of Tranquility.
Oh, Essence
Oh, yeah.
Tranquility.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking
love it
about. I know her.
She's an amazing lady. Man.
Yeah.
She knew my grandma.
It's all
Yeah.
tatted up.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
really
that's
cool.
yeah. She
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah, she actually worked out there with
Can
us
I
for a little while.
before we go? So
So I'm
thank
from-
you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so
Not
much
even
for
that.
for even
And
and
being
goodbye.
and goodbye. That's
all
the
the
show.
time it is. I held off the rain for this.
Right, but I wanted to ask both. When I was thinking about this episode, I was thinking like I really wanted you to talk because you have a lot of stories. But there's a few things I wanted to bring up to you guys just to ask in general. I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about the analogy, screw the pooch. What comes to mind?
You mean fuck the dog?
Fuck the dog.
Really fuck
Right.
the dog. Huh?
Like what?
It's strange, right?
You're really
What-
fucking
It's
the
strange
dog.
that any
yeah.
mistake that you make, you would equate. Why would that be the first fucking thing that comes to your
I
mind?
fucked the dog. Man, I really fucked the dog on
Well,
that one. Right? Why
Well,
would
where
anybody
did it
say that?
start? Where did it start?
Right? Who?
Yeah,
Where did it originate? Scott, you're
Can I-
you're my guy.
So-
You remember so much. Like,
You know what? I actually have a fun theory on this. So
ooh, Dylan's koozies here.
I have been looking into the origins of language actually for a very long time. It's
Yeah?
a deep dive. And I have a theory on how the origins of the very first language that were ever spoken by humankind. The very first thought ever developed was one male of our species watching two males doing something that he knew they weren't doing right. And his first thought was, they're not doing that right. And his second thought was, who the fuck is that? Because his interior mind
Right.
probably fucking
Here in his
spooked
fucking
him.
head for the first time.
But then, you know how we are, right? You can't hold nothing back. Like, if you're working in the mine and you see that fucking wrench clearly ain't going to turn that fucking
Right.
nut.
We're
This-
barbarians, dude.
Yeah.
We're
You're
barbarians.
trying, at some level, you're going to have to reach out to someone linguistically and say, hey, asshole, you're not doing that right.
Right.
So, screwed the pooch, you would, what I extrapolate from that real quick, sir, is that it had to be so common for
Right.
guys at the time to be making the mistake of accidentally putting their dick inside of a dog for them to compare it
Accidentally.
to, it was supposed, like,
Right.
like
But
quotation
it would,
marks.
no,
Yeah,
you're,
yeah,
well,
you're
the
not
reason
doing that right. Let me go hold the tail.
the reason
Hold
he's
on.
saying accidentally is because that's how
Screwed
they
the
come.
pooch
You
would
screwed.
imply that you
you
did it
fucked up.
right, like, oh, we really screwed the pooch. Not
Yeah.
like as in, hey guys, we really screwed the pooch this time.
We accidentally fucked the
Yeah.
dog this time.
And we'll get him next time too.
Right.
Yeah,
I really wanted to hear what both of you thought about. I want to hear what
Dick into
Jason.
the dog. Yeah.
What did you
yeah.
think, Jason?
I'm a sick man, so I mean,
So what would you say? What would you say?
somebody definitely fucked a dog and got caught for sure.
And then they just stuck with it.
Oh yeah.
They said,
Oh, yeah.
all right, yeah. From that point on,
Hey, it'd be like, okay, you're out on the farm and you catch your
that's
boy.
fucking brilliant.
Right.
You're out on the farm and you catch your boy dicking down the dog, and you'd be like,
oh, he really fucked
yeah,
the
you
pooch.
really fucked
Screwed
the
the
dog
pooch.
this time.
And conversely, the kid that got caught with his dick in the dog would try to make the excuse that it was some horrible accident, right?
Right. Of course. Hey, I didn't mean to fuck the dog.
I think Jason's close to the origins of that.
I don't know.
No,
It's just,
fuck that. I like that.
Somebody got caught
All right.
somewhere.
We're in.
I mean, you kind of said it, you know, like.
Someone got caught doing something, and it was so horribly horrific and accidental that from then on, the granddaddy of all mistakes is putting your dick in a dog.
We fucking screwed the pooch.
You know what's funny is we don't even have any scientific data of why it's not a good idea to put your dick in the dog.
We have plenty of scientific data. It's a horrible idea. Yeah.
Maybe
It's
maybe
not
I don't
normal.
know. I don't know.
maybe you and
What?
I maybe you and I have different Google search results. when it
I
comes to
don't need to
scientific-
Google that shit. Like, you're not
No.
supposed to fuck a dog.
So what about that?
Says the vegan.
Well,
I'm not a vegan.
I know.
Fuck that.
what was that lady from South Africa that got all famous on? She was paid, I think.
We're talking about like the donkey show
No, she was paid to fuck a dog.
from South Africa.
Like, yeah.
Where like
on,
Elon
on
Musk's
the
from there.
internet. You know what I
Elon
mean?
Musk's from
Yeah,
there.
he's sick
Yes,
fuckers.
look it
Yeah.
up,
Oh,
man.
they're
like,
weird
there was,
fucking
it was like all over fucking the
Elon
internet
Musk,
for a
to
couple
clarify
weeks.
that real quick,
And-
Elon Musk's dad married his
No,
stepdaughter.
we just had this on. We
We
talked about it.
just-
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just
I
we
sta- like I
covered
said, I
it.
stayed away from the conspiracy theory one for sure.
Right.
See, I'm not even supposed to talk about it. Elon
Yeah,
Musk
that
stuff,
was
right?
Yeah,
that
he's
was
listening.
that was the podcast God saying.
Starlink lining up.
We already covered this. We already covered this.
If I could say one thing to Elon Musk, if he ever hears this podcast, let me just say this to you, bro. Your beats are pretty smack, but Teslas aren't that fucking great.
I've never driven one.
Well, I hear the
No, no, no.
quality. I hear
No,
the
no.
quality of like.
No. Just cruise around Flagstaff for 2 weeks, drive around them, and see how fucking amazing those automatic driving cars are. They're not that fucking great,
Well, they're
right?
supposed to be safe.
Nah.
What about? I don't get.
I don't know. I have yet to see them drive.
I don't know enough about them. I'm so hung up on my 1969 Chevy C10. I don't give a fuck about
Yeah.
like what's happening in the electrical car world. That's just my opinion. I'm not
Right,
looking
right.
down my nose.
We
But
still got gas.
we still got gas.
So-
For now, as
and-
expensive as it may be.
Because I'm from Lebanon and Safford, I have to qualify by saying I don't currently own a truck, but I did own a 1974 Chevy Custom Deluxe 10 sitting on 33s with a 3.5-inch fucking lift.
What happened to that truck?
Well, a lot of things happen. That was one of the consequences that I paid when I took a very long vacation.
I could see you're really regretting losing that truck.
Shit!
Man.
Before Jason,
Black Betty, that's the truck.
Were you on acid on the last show?
Hearsay.
You
Hearsay.
neither confirm nor deny that.
Hearsay.
I heard a little rumor you were on acid,
Well,
but I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Prove it.
Tell him a bee stung your dog.
Did it sound like I was?
Did you really fuck the dog on that one, man?
Well, we gotta see what works, what doesn't. So
it sounded like it was successful though, so he didn't fuck the dog.
No, he didn't. I guess what you didn't fuck the dog. Is that what you tell people did a good job? Hey, man, you didn't fuck the dog on that one.
Good job at not fucking that dog.
Can you imagine if you went out to do whatever the thing was that you were doing, and you did it to the absolute best of your ability? You've been training for years,
right? And
you did the very best out of all the grouped up people that were there to do it, and the compliment you got at the end was, "Hey, way not to fuck that dog."
Yeah,
wait. Hey, guy.
You didn't fuck that dog.
Next time your kid has a really good t-ball game.
Do you guys, and I feel like, I'm not bringing that up to my fucking kid.
maybe to the umpire.
Maybe
to the umpire. I don't know.
Yeah, Mary, we're not talking about that.
Mary, don't tell my kids
Lee,
about it.
We're not having this conversation. So, the other thing, so all I do all week long is I just think about things I want to talk to you and our guests about. And I want it, because you're the same age as us, right? You're around the same age.
I'm slightly older. I think I'm 40.
If you don't know what that is
40.
Thunder.
Do you guys remember the song?
I'm just going to roll right through it.
Backstreet's Back by... All right. You remember this song? I was just singing about this the other day. You remember the part of the song where they're singing Backstreet's Back, all right. And then somewhere in the song, one of the guys says, am I sexual?
Yeah. Right.
And then all of his buddies go, yeah. What the fuck's that about? Like
they're just like their support group, man.
But what
they're supporting you, man.
Supporting who?
That's like
him.
That's like when hype man goes too far. Right?
Yeah, right.
Like, am I supposed to just hype anything?
Anything you say? Because that's so vague and weird. It's such a fucking. Am I sexual?
That is like a mark of modern day rappers now, right? You can see like a modern day rapper, like back in the day when we grew up, like Tupac would come out probably.
Oh, dude, don't bring up Tupac's. And Backstreet Boys in the same breath. Please.
No. Listen.
Right.
So I had a theory one time. I tried to convince a guy that Slipknot was really just Backstreet Boys and NSYNC on tour with masks on.
Horrible.
It drove him crazy.
No, yeah.
You can't just do it at the time,
Don't
right?
say that.
Well, think about it at the time. It's the early 2000s. No one had ever really seen their faces.
Right.
I'm like, think about it, bro. Think
just
about
fucking
it.
with people.
And do you remember in high school, in Safford High School, you remember Mr. Vaughn?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember in the lunch line, Mr. Vaughn? He used to have those numbers. So
I don't ever remember going to lunch in high school.
All right, but
Dude.
Just to illustrate this, at lunch, what they would do is they would cut up these numbers and they would give us, like, it was on a piece of paper. You remember this? And they would assign each student a number, and that's what you gave the lunch lady in order to get your tray.
What?
Yeah, you don't remember this?
No.
That didn't happen when I was in high school.
I mean, Mr. Vaughn always just like he'd always enunciate these numbers. He loved this part of his job because you remember Mr. Vaughn's a phenomenal teacher.
Mr. Vaughn loves math.
Right.
Like math is an abandoned baby in the woods, and Mr. Vaughn is a female mother bear.
No, I
am
am serious.
You can't even make fun of this man because he loves that subject so much.
So much.
And all he wants you to do is understand it a little bit better and then leave his fucking class.
That's his life.
That's his whole life. And those pink shirts.
Oh, but in the lunch line, he used to go, number 7. And like, he's always like, do you remember hearing about this?
No.
Man, he loved that part of his job.
Do you want to get your mind blown about Mr. Vaughn right now?
Yes. You've been blowing my mind all weekend. Let's hear it.
Mr. Vaughn, what if I told you that Mr. Vaughn was legit in a motorcycle club?
What?
Well, did that blow your mind a little bit?
A little bit.
I really don't have much to say because I don't remember.
I got plenty of questions.
I'll soften the blow by saying it was like a Gold Wing Road Riders Association club. Right? So
Mr. Vaughn.
But Mr. Vaughn and his wife, I think her name is Sherry or Sharon. It's been so many years. But my aunt and uncle were part of the Gold Wing Road Riders Association club right there in Safford. My uncle actually rode a pretty cool bike. He rode like an 82 Honda Gold Wing that was purple. And on the fender flares on each side, it had 2 different murals. One was of a couple walking across the beach at night, like their silhouettes. And up above was this one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater.
Yeah.
And then on the other fender flare, there's only one silhouette, and the purple people ears up here, but he's got like a leg sticking out of his mouth with a high heel
So he
shoe
ate
on.
one of them.
Yeah. And he would
Wow.
blast that like during the parade. So, but Mr. Vaughn rode with them cats, man. He had
Man.
a really, really nice
Mr.
bike.
Well,
my
Mr.
dad, my
Mr.
dad had
Vaughn's-
some gold wings, man.
The
Yeah.
Gold Wings are
But-
cruisers, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
And he's a big guy, so
Yeah, yeah.
like, and I always said, well, why not a Harley? So like, you ever ride one, man? You're like,
What about them?
they're
just
they're
not-
just
They're great,
they're
but from what-
uncomfortable.
I'm
Are
not,
they?
I'm not a
Long-
bike rider, but I've heard they'll rattle your kidneys to
Right,
fucking death, right? Like,
right.
there's a lot of rattles.
Right. Gold wings are just
Sorry,
smooth cruisers.
sorry, Harley. I mean,
Sorry.
BMWs are trash. Buy Harley Davidson.
Buy Harley.
Buy
please
American.
please don't strike us down.
Gold wings are just they're cruisers.
They're cruisers,
Yeah.
man. I'll tell you this.
They're made for riding.
He owned 2 bikes.
Your dad?
My uncle.
Oh, your
He was my
uncle, okay.
and they raised me partly, but he owned the 82, and then he owned a much newer 1500. It was a white one. It had like the reverse and everything.
A reverse.
Air conditioning on this motherfucker.
Air conditioning on a motorcycle?
Yes, sir.
Isn't the
Look up Honda Gold.
motorcycle
bro.
air conditioned?
Yeah, they're luxury.
What they
like-
do is condition the
They're
inner
the
flow of air,
Cadillacs.
and then that capsule that encapsulates you, right, with the aerodynamics of the bike, is still conditioned air on the inside.
Wow.
And I'm sure by now, they have found a way to run
Would
it
it
into your
would
suit
that
or
now
some
wouldn't
shit,
that
right?
forfeit the whole biker image a little bit to some capacity at least?
You know,
I mean, if you care about
the
your image.
right?
Right.
you know
But
what I
isn't that
mean?
why all of them are doing it?
Or no? Why wouldn't you just want to ride for the enjoyment?
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
that-
be
I think-
comfortable.
I think
And be
that comes
comfortable.
Then buy a slingshot. Buy,
I'm going to.
I know.
going to.
I can
Just
see you in a
to-
slingshot.
just to-
What a pervert.
just to fucking
what a
make you
pervert.
mad.
Why?
I'm gonna-
Why?
I'm
You
gonna
think I
buy
give a
one.
fuck? I don't give a dude. I don't give a fuck what you buy. Spend your money on whatever you want. And then the slingshots are ugly as hell, and you
I'm
know
gonna,
it.
I'm gonna
They're
get
idiot,
one,
dude. What?
and
Why
I'm
would
gonna
anybody?
get it
Oh, what are
the
you gonna
ugliest fucking color.
yellow? Get a yellow slingshot. Roll it through town. Yeah. And next to the woman who's been married 3 times, you know, who's been ran through by every supervisor at the mine,
Yes.
and you're just cruising through town.
Yes.
First of
That's
all,
my dream.
First of all, you're talking about one of my fucking wives. One of my ex-wives, right?
Am
So I
I-
said one of them.
Oh,
Nobody
hey!
knows.
I didn't say a name.
listen.
I
The
didn't
only
say
thing I thought about that whole conversation was how I could see you in a slingshot would make a great fucking name for a country song, and then some of the lyrics that followed would fit in.
Right.
Or it's like something you tell your honey when you're both from Pima, right? Like, I
Right.
could see you in a slingshot.
Yeah.
You lick your teeth?
Yeah.
I could see you in a slingshot. You gotta do like
see,
the.
you do the on the end. I like the teeth lick.
What did kids you do both? No, you can't do both.
Whatever's
no, it's gotta be
creepier.
one or the other. Which one's creep? Mary, which one's creepier? The teeth lick or the?
What if you do both?
No, I already tried it. You can't do both. Yeah, you just sound like. What is teeth licks creepier? All right.
All right. Minute 15 of the podcast. We're already at. Where
So
do we
you know what we
go
talk
from?
on this show? We talk a lot about the '90s.
Hey,
A
does this
lot.
sound creepy?
The
Are you
one.
fucking-
The one
Are you
thing that
being ageist right now?
I feel like that we don't ever discuss enough, or anybody discusses enough in the '90s, is Boys to Men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, nobody mentions
There-
Boys to Men.
I mean,
What's in
A lot of people love Boys and Men, and I'm sure there's a part of Philadelphia, right, in
that?
which they're,
That
like, heavily
celebrates them.
But
like
there are
as a
those of us
society,
outside of Philadelphia who I was heavily influenced musically by Boys to Men,
right?
and even groups like later on, like All for One and shit.
All
that were
for yeah,
kinda
they
like
they
the
all
Boyz II
came
Men.
after Boys
They
to
were like the
Men.
Boys to Men spin-offs,
Right,
right?
all of them.
But Boys to Men was legit a story about 4 friends who could fucking sing,
Right.
who stood around a trash can fire in Philadelphia and sang.
Is
and
this
then
real?
This is for real. Yeah, these guys used to
I
sing on the
I didn't know
street.
that there was a backstory to Boys to Men.
Oh yeah.
I thought they were like engineered and
Just
like.
no,
pieced together.
No.
No.
That shit didn't start until like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Those were all corporately like they held
engineered to-
auditions.
right.
Yeah, they held auditions.
So
and they
Boys to Men were
selected-
like an actual fucking band, like the Ramones or the Sex Pistols. They were
Well,
they just
no-
have. Well,
no,
I'm not
they
saying they
don't-
played instruments. But what
Yeah,
I'm saying is,
acapella
like,
group.
organically they
Oh,
came
dude.
together and they were influenced
Are
by.
you kidding me, bro? Motown, Philly, back
again.
again.
Yeah, right.
These dudes were just
all right.
timing's on.
I had no part
All
of
right.
that.
So the musicians.
We did not rehearse that.
Just so the musicians are on, we're on a 4/4 time.
Yeah.
And,
Wow. And then what was it? Remember, you used to sing a song, "Throw your clothes on the floor.
I'm gonna take my clothes off too.
So that doesn't even rhyme.
Listen, there's
It doesn't have to.
I guess when you're Boys to Men, you don't got to fucking rhyme.
It does if you include the last line.
What's the last?
I've made plans to be with you.
Oh,
Chapter 2.
see, I don't
Yeah.
ever finish it.
Well, that whole
So
song
let's start
is
from the
gold.
top. Throw your clothes
Throw your clothes
on the floor.
on the floor.
I'm gonna take
my
my clothes off too. And then you wrap it up.
I've made plans to be with you. Yeah.
Boom. Okay. All right. All these years, I never finished that in my head. Right. It does.
That
rhyme.
was the song.
That's not
It
even the
does
climax.
rhyme.
The climax of that song is the fucking
What's a
girl you need only yes I'll make
love to you like you want me
Hey,
to?
are we
Yeah.
acapella?
No,
Yeah,
we
no,
are.
but
We're
that's
Boys
just the
to
power,
Men.
That's the power of
Not
Boys to Men.
This is not a scene cast.
No. All right. Well, let us. I just wanted to address.
All right. I
literally-
just don't want to lose the
literally,
good fans we've got.
We're
Wow,
podcasting
we're not losing
about.
anybody.
Backstreet.
We're talking about the transition that we've made from boys growing up in Safford, Arizona, to men who
To
are
men.
now in Oak Creek.
Yeah, it's all part of a musical journey.
Right.
But
Okay, go
along
ahead.
that musical journey,
Right.
fucking Boys to Men.
Boys to Men, dude. They get overlooked. So here's another group. Here's another act that I feel like on a national level gets ignored, and that's Selena.
Really?
Selena doesn't get the.
Oh shit!
Well,
I can't ever go to
because-
Southern Arizona anymore.
because
Lee, we
she's
can't go to Texas.
dead.
Don't book gigs in Texas.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Like, I love Selena.
Cool.
So like, but
But
what?
you- anything for
Nobody's
Selena.
like doing any work for her because
I don't feel like she gets the love she deserves on a national level. No. They have a whole series on
So-
Netflix about her.
I
Here's-
swear she's got several movies.
Here's the
I
thing.
mean, like,
About her.
in my opinion, and maybe it's because I am Mexican, but like Biggie, Tupac, and Selena, like those are my
Damn.
icons of the
Okay.
night. That for me.
All right.
Oh, and Tim McGraw. I'll throw Tim McGraw in there too. Because no, I'm an Indian outlaw, half Cherokee and Choctaw. My baby, she's a
Chippewa.
Oh,
She's a
she's
one
one
of
of
a
a kind. So like that's another one. Like I feel like there's three pillars of musical entertainment from the '90s, at least from Salford, and that's Boys to Men. We'll throw Mariah Carey in there.
You can't just keep throwing everybody as pillars. This is just concrete.
No. There's three pillars of musical
can we
entertainment.
get
So
a-
let's back up. It's Biggie, for real. For you,
we
it's
get a
90s.
boneyard,
It's Biggie,
guys?
Tupac.
Oh, we should get a boneyard.
Hell yeah.
Before they get warm.
I'll drink half one with you and give the other half to Lee.
Yeah,
I'm
like we did
out.
last night. Oh yeah, thank you, Keela, so
Damn.
much for giving us boneyards. Thanks, Mary, for delivering them.
Listen, to the lady who I don't know, who sent these wonderful beers all the
Keela
way.
Wallace. Oh, she's from
for
Coos Bay.
real
They got a
Coos Bay,
little
Oregon. These are
shooken
from
up
Bend, right? These
in
are
the
out of Bend, Coos Bay,
process
Oregon.
of
Listen,
transportation.
I'm not an IPA guy. This is what I told Levi last night. I'm not an IPA guy. I'm not a hoppy beer kind of guy. But this is a hoppy beer that's really IPA that finishes real nice. And I really
When
enjoy
I first moved to Oregon, this is all I drank. I lived off it, like water and boneyard.
it. No shit.
Yeah. But those are a couple of.
It's got what plants crave.
This is what those are like a few things I just want to talk to you guys about. Was like, I especially you, because we're all the same age. I like having people on the show that are same age, just because like, man, it means so much to me. 90s music just means so much to me.
Some of my-
CMT, can I say that acronym?
Oh my god.
Can I throw? Do you
Please do.
remember Travis Tritt?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Do you remember like how like elaborate his music videos used to get? Remember like that one where he's like a Vietnam War vet in a wheelchair,
It's a three-part video.
and then he's got his black best friend,
And then
Charlie,
Mhm.
and then remember
I'm gonna be somebody was one of
I'm
those
gonna
videos.
yeah. How
I'm
does
gonna
be somebody
Mhm.
someday?
Yep.
Yes. So remember, and then he's like in the wheelchair and he's like boxing, and he's a Vietnam, not paraplegic,
His
but
wife left him. He had a boat at one time.
and she's
Remember that
pregnant
shit?
and she
Mhm.
slips off the
She
dock.
Died.
Died?
Don't tell me you didn't say goodbye. Was that?
That's the
last
one. Yeah. You don't remember any of these songs,
Don't
Jason?
tell
Nah.
me
Nah.
you didn't say
Goodbye, dude. These
Fuck.
are
I showed Lee a bunch of '90s country all the time. Speaking of Travis Tritt, like
Travis Tritt's the fucking
Diamond Rio.
Diamond Rio,
Diamond
baby. Diamond Rio.
If you sit down tonight, for those of you who are listening, in a dimly lit room and put on a song by Diamond Rio called "You're Gone," and if you don't
Oh, yeah.
cry in 3 seconds, call a psychologist and get some
You need
fucking
help.
psychopathy meds.
Did they sing the song? I'll start walking your way, and you'll start walking mine. We'll meet in the middle, neath that old Georgia pine.
Yeah.
We'll gain a lot of ground.
We
both
give a little,
Ain't no road too long if you meet in the middle. Dude, I mean,
Put my
had-
meat in
and
the middle. You know what I mean?
put your meat in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what other one? The one that Lee and I love too, Diamond Rio. Real quick shout out if you ever hear this, we'll take some merch
Yep, we will.
or a percentage. You know, we sang it.
whatever.
Fuck, pay me.
It's coming down.
Yeah, I'm making you
Not
relevant
under
again.
this.
No, yeah, well,
it is starting to come down. a
we're
little,
actually
man.
under a very nice canopy of trees. But what was the other Diamond Rio song?
It's like just before dawn. Jump in the car.
Yes.
Buy a nice cream and see how far you can drive before it melts. Kind of feeling.
Yes, I don't remember the song. I don't know the
No?
song as well.
You
I
gotta
know, no, I
listen
know
to
the
it.
song. I
There's
just don't
a-
remember. It's not like etched into my heart like
there's a
other ones.
cow in the road and you swerve.
Yeah,
to
I've
the
heard the
left.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I fucking get it, man.
Yeah, I get it.
lived
No,
that
you're
shit.
driving it home. We
I
get-
lived that shit. I lived in Duncan, so there were
Yeah.
cows in the road, and I was swerving everywhere.
I like to meet in the middle. Really.
No, I want to meet in the middle. What you know? There's
Not the meat at the top or the bottom.
but you know, there's a lot of there's a lot of really good. You know, like I'm going to bring his name up. Not that he needs to be mentioned at all, but like Garth Brooks. Like you know, there's like so many of his B-sides that are so amazing that don't ever get mentioned.
He has a couple of songs. There's one called like Mother Ireland. He does
Oh,
Come
Ireland,
Home.
I am coming home. Dude, that's a good one.
That
And-
Garth Brooks double live album was like a life
What-
changer.
Ooh, that was close.
We'll see.
What was the other one? Oh, that lightning threw me off. But
Thunder Rolls. Is that the
thunder
one you're
rolls.
thinking
Oh yeah, thunder rolls. And the thunder rolls. And the lightning strikes.
Which is
Bam,
weird, right?
bam,
It's
bam.
like Garth Brooks never took a fucking science class because clearly the lightning strikes
Right,
first,
right, and
Garth,
then the thunder.
and then the thunder
Right,
rolls.
right.
All right, you're right.
To let us know how far away it is.
Right.
That's why it does that.
That's it.
That's
You know
That's
what,
it.
That's
you know
it.
what blew my mind at one point?
Merrick,
with
can we
the,
get just a plastic bag over the mixer?
What blew my mind at one point when I realized what thunder actually is that it's a split creating the atmosphere, and it's literally the sound of one half of the fucking atmosphere clapping together against the other one.
Really?
Like God's butt cheeks.
Clapping.
I don't know, I just made that up, but check it out sometime.
Like he's twerking.
Do some science.
No, I don't think God's twerking. I think Mother Nature's twerking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clapping them butt cheeks.
We'll
And
find
it's not
out.
and it's not in a sexy come hither kind of way. It's like, hey guys,
Check it out.
here's a warning.
Here's a warning. You know, and
Well, we don't
I'm
listen to that
refusing to
shit.
fucking give up on this episode because we're gonna just fucking work through this, and I don't give a shit.
You guys, this is close to how the people in Katrina felt.
Not really.
Oh.
This is, I don't know. Maybe this is.
I lived in Texas during Katrina, and it wasn't anything like this. We're getting nice and toasted on Boneyard IPA and Bud Light Limes.
Now give it.
So-
Hey, we'll
just
ride this table out
just
if it gets too high.
Oh yeah, that's an iPhone, so it'll break immediately.
Yeah. Oh, you actually pushed the button. Somebody actually pushed the button. There's like,
That's a
yeah.
sound effect button, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
an
sound
intro
effect
button. That's
button.
amazing.
yeah.
I thought Mary was cutting us off for time.
Yeah,
She's
it's
all,
a wrap.
We
It's a
gotta take
wrap.
Flash
break.
flood coming. Get out of here.
Now, I want to ask. I fell asleep last night and I was listening to you guys talk, and you guys were talking about so many interesting, awesome things.
Oh,
But
man.
one thing I heard about was that, like, you did prison time in Kentucky.
I did federal prison time in the states, the illustrious states of Kentucky, Mississippi, and Texas.
In Texas. And now, while you were in Texas, Anthony, Texas, right? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
And while
Shout out to the homies in Latuna. If they
Latuna.
let y'all motherfuckers have Spotify. Hang in there, buddies.
Yeah, we're gonna be all right. Well, and then you told me, I heard you tell Jason a story about how, like, they bring a lot of, like, Mexican or American prisoners that were in Mexico.
Treaty transfer.
Treaty transfer. Can you explain that, please, on the show?
So the first institution that I ended up at in the federal system is a place kind of on the border of Anthony, New Mexico, and Anthony, Texas, right outside of El Paso, Texas, and it's
Yeah.
called FCI Latuna,
Okay.
Federal Correctional Institution Latuna. And this place is like an old converted, literally it looks like the Alamo, bro. When they brought us on the prison bus, and you would expect the prison bus isn't a great place for jokes and ha-has, but as we come upon this
No,
place,
not really.
you know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty,
You don't know where you're
it's
going.
a pretty
You're
somber
like,
moment,
Right. I would assume.
But as we pull up, I look at this place and I make a joke, and I'm like, "What are they taking us to the fucking Alamo?" Because this is like a cultural exhibit before we.
Right.
And then the bus stops and the shit opens up and people start standing up, and I'm like, "No, for real though, this is not where I'm gonna live for like the next 6 years."
Now, this is my home now.
This looks, this looks like a half a house out in San Jose, you know,
Right,
one
yeah.
of the river ones.
Right.
So, but it is at the time, and I don't know if this is still true, but it was kind of a hub that they were using. So anytime that American citizens commit a crime in Mexico, they are exchanged like pawns on a chessboard at some point
Right.
with the American government for Mexican citizens who
So it's
committed
just a
crimes
swap.
here. Yeah.
Why would you even want to swap?
Well, the
You know what I
agreement.
mean?
Here's the deal. The
Well,
agreement becomes.
let him explain. We'll hear
the agreement becomes that with that swap, these people obviously they're closer to their home and their family, so people can visit them, and that is supposed to be a goal of the rehabilitation system to
Right.
maintain those ties with your family. Because at some point these guys have to get out of prison, and if they don't have a support structure to go to, the rate of recidivism is really high. Like in the feds, the rate of recidivism is 80%. So 80% of the
like
people
80.
who wear
Whoa.
federal
So wait.
go
Are you
back.
telling me that 80% of people who end up in federal prison go back
Go
to
back.
prison?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Wait, and you were in federal prison, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're the 20% that didn't go back.
Me and a group of my friends, yeah.
Wow.
Fuck, 20%ers.
20%ers,
Hey,
baby.
Shout out, baby.
Oh, yeah.
20%er.
So the program I was in, they
Yeah.
put me through that.
Well, you weren't in federal, were you?
No, it's state prison.
State prison. Wow.
Which
What,
is
pussy?
which let me tell you
worse.
this right now, state
Worse.
prison's horribly worse.
Is it really?
State prisons in the state of Arizona are underfunded at such a rate that let me tell you this, I had both consultations that I was engaged in with people who were incarcerated in the federal system and the state system when COVID hit, for example,
Right.
where these people's sentence had been up for over 9 months, but they couldn't out process them. So they're just holding these people.
That's horrible.
Oh, so their time's already
incarcerated,
done and they're just there for
already done.
Wow.
But because the
Fucked
whole
up.
world stopped, they
Right.
can't get
What a
back
horrible
out.
So
time
do
to
they
be-
get like a
And so-
like
and
like
listen,
a voucher,
I'm-
like, hey,
yeah.
I've already done this much
Right.
time
and
extra
to clarify,
on my next crime.
I'm not
Yeah.
one of those guys. Like,
Do they get an apology or anything?
Ha! Oh.
Nothing, huh?
Well, yeah.
Money.
As you leave, they pat you on the ass and say, "Hey, you didn't screw the pooch.
You didn't fuck the dog. Hey, you
Good
didn't
for
fuck the
you.
dog.
Good for you. We'll see you next time."
thing
They
we-
say a
No
lot.
Good thing we
way.
kept
Yeah, a
our
lot of-
dogs on a leash.
And it depends, right? Because like with me, it was a pretty simple example. Like the crime that I was locked up for, I was seeking out money from it, right? But
Wait, you're seeking out money for what?
it
for
wasn't
basic
a,
existence.
It
For
shouldn't have been a
I got
federal
locked.
crime.
Well,
huh?
I got locked up for transporting marijuana.
Okay.
Was my crime. And when I say the amount of marijuana, people are gonna think it's a lot. It's not a lot. I was caught with 96 kilos of marijuana, which is about 196 pounds.
196 pounds.
That's
Okay.
nothing.
And some people, well, especially now though,
So
you know,
wait.
kids nowadays that work in dispensaries, like, oh, like Wednesday's shipment. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
even- it
No, it's a
wasn't even
different
that much,
time.
right?
It's a different time. Right.
But the federal government, they're not interested in small amounts of marijuana. The way I got arrested was kind of this fluke where, because of the circumstances of it, I ended up in federal prison rather than state prison.
Right.
Namely,
You got lucky, really.
well, yeah, definitely. Namely, I was stopped in Arizona by a Border Patrol agent. The Border Patrol took me into custody. At that time, they called the Arizona State Police,
So
which
it
at the
was
time was the troopers. Well, they asked them, do you want to come down and arrest this guy? And they said, no, you guys have him. So then they took me to the Border Patrol station in
I don't want to switch
New
gears yet.
Mexico.
Come here.
Right,
Can you give me another
right,
beer?
Which now makes
They
it
gave up.
federal because
So
Yeah, you're-
so
But didn't you
Crossing
explained it
states.
last night? You explained it a little more elaborately, right? That there was there's a gap
So-
between. I'm sorry, if you don't want to talk about that, you don't have to talk about it.
Well, specifics, I don't know. If people
don't
would
talk
fucking
about
do
the
it.
butt stuff
Yeah, I
if you
can't talk
don't
about a lot
want
of stuff.
to.
There's a lot, and listen, let me preface this to your listeners by saying, when I say there's a lot of stuff that I don't talk about, it's not because I think that I'm some important person or this or that. It's just there are people whose stories that I hold, you know.
Sure.
And so
it's
I
not
can
just your
allude to-
credibility; it's somebody
Right,
else's.
right.
Right. I'm all right with
or
that.
It
We
could
get
expose
that.
someone else.
What's
on
the
it.
worst fight you've ever seen in prison?
The worst fight I ever saw in prison? That's hard. I was a part of
Really?
the worst fight that I've ever seen in prison.
What role did you play?
I was the aggressor.
You were the aggressor. Oh, was this
Do
like
not incriminate yourself.
No, I already did my time in the shoe for this one.
so? Was this or
It-
were you
I-
beating
they-
up a pedophile?
I was.
Oh, so this
that
was
was
in
the
Phoenix.
first assault that. No, this was in Latuna. This was FCI Latuna.
Well, the guy had it fucking coming,
Yeah,
obviously. But
well,
anyhow, I want to hear what
so-
if you don't mind.
Which part?
Just what happened?
With the fight?
Yeah, would you catch him? What happened?
Well, yeah. So basically, a group of guys that I hung around with on this yard, we were real tough, and that just means we hung out together all the time, man. It was like my car is what they call it in the federal system, like your little car, right? So a group of us, man, we played like Dungeons and Dragons together, and I know immediately some of you motherfuckers are out there saying, "Well, you
Yeah.
should have known."
Tough.
Fuck you. Cool
Tough.
people play Dungeons and Dragons.
Tough.
So in prison,
No,
right?
he's not saying. He's saying they hang tough, as in they hang out a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And we're pretty fucking tough. So,
All right.
we're fucking United States Marines, son.
Yeah, U.S. Marine, baby.
So,
oh yeah, and you're a U.S.
I
Marine.
had
But
come
anyhow,
just out of the Marine Corps and went into prison, so I didn't have this like Marine mentality. I was just used to rapid adaptation and kind of
Right. You have to adapt.
And so.
how's that boneyard?
But
I'm
it
sorry.
was there. So I was sent to a place, Anthony, Texas, called Latuna. And what a treaty transfer yard is, like I said, they swap you over. So the benefits of that become for American citizens sometimes. The crimes that you are charged with in that country may not exist here in the United States.
Really?
Yeah. So for example, I had a friend who I met there who was on a treaty transfer from Japan. This young man was a United States Marine.
Okay.
He was out at a bar with a bunch of other Marines in Okinawa, Japan.
Right. So my brother's station. But anyhow.
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Fuck,
Oh yeah, both my
Hell
brothers are
yeah.
Marines.
Well,
But-
Japan? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's where his boy
my
is.
son-
Yeah,
my
that's
son
what
there.
you're saying.
But so what happened?
So they go into the bars there are kind of like these, just kind of at the time were like these paper housing fronts because that's
Right.
the way things are designed over there, right?
Right.
And an argument happened between Marines in that bar.
Okay.
They got into a scuffle. During that process, some of the paper lanterns in the bar got knocked over and the whole place caught fire.
Right.
Everybody scatters. This guy's the only one who runs out the back. Provost Marshal's office comes around the back. They arrest him. A lot of the other guys get away. He has to do Japanese prison time because he broke Japanese law. So
Yeah.
he does like a 2-year sentence in Japanese prison.
Right.
And then he's treaty transferred in exchange over here for a Japanese citizen, where here, and because
Is
he was
Latuna?
in the Marine
Is he
Corps,
goes to Latuna?
yeah, so he ends
Okay.
up at Latuna with me. And for example, he, under like military, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, he would have been tried for like conduct unbecoming a Marine, shit like that. But that doesn't exist in federal statutes.
Okay.
So a lot of those charges that he would have done some time for in different places get to fall away because he came back over here.
That's good.
Right.
That's part of the process. Now, sometimes as well, the conditions in prisons in other countries are so horrible and so bad, and people are mistreated and abused within that system. So as well, when U.S. citizens come back from prisons overseas, they're interviewed heavily and asked like, hey,
Right. What's going on over there?
and if they can find corroborating proof, then you can qualify for a sentence reduction off that too.
Really?
Yeah, because the U.S. government says, look, like in my case, right? I'd be like, yeah, you were busted for weed in Mexico, but damn, you were fucking beaten every day for 9 years. I think you've done both of that.
So from what he may have told you, how was his situation in a Japanese prison?
He told me without a doubt, and I'm sure there are different levels to Japanese prisons, just like there are in America.
Right.
But the one that he was at, he said it was the most respectful place that he's ever been. He said the guards, you have a door, the Japanese door. This is the way I learned the word for Japanese door, which is shoji.
Okay.
So there's a shoji. So the guards won't at any point touch your door, is what he said. Like they'll knock and then they allow you to open the door.
Holy
He
shit.
had like they have a video game system in your room because it's not a cell. And then like for example, he's like, if I was walking around the corner coming back from class one day and I bumped into a guard and I dropped my books. So the guard picks my books up. That right there is weird anyway. That's never gonna happen.
No,
in
right.
American prison anyway.
Yeah.
But and that's not without reason, right? You're not going to bend over in front of an inmate to pick up books
Sure.
because there exists a security threat. But so the guard bends over to pick up the book, but because of Japanese custom, he doesn't touch any of the places that you're going to touch. He very specifically hands this book back only on the hardcover where it wraps around the spine.
Right.
So he doesn't like, contaminate it. I've seen
What a strange world.
it's just different customs. Well,
Yeah.
So he came back to the States and had to do some time because
yeah.
he was treated very, very
Sounds
different
nice.
back then.
Well, and this guy
Did he say what the food was like in Japan?
Yeah, it was great. It was just fresh. I mean, like fresh seafood and rice most of the time.
Jeez.
God
Didn't skip
damn.
on that.
I'm going to prison.
In
See you
Japan.
guys.
Listen, you can get plenty of rice in prison, buddy. They sell it at the commissary.
Yeah, but can you imagine like Japanese? Okay, so sorry, go ahead.
but actually
Yeah.
cooked, like, because the inmates there, you would assume are doing the cooking, and they are, because it's a rehabilitation program.
Did he say whether it was good or not?
Nah, he talked. I mean, the general conditions were good. We didn't go. The craziest thing is this dude had like a way crazier story than that. So most of the time I knew this guy, I spent talking to him about a couple other things. He was trying to start a Navajo class in the prison that we were at, and
In Latuna.
and prison security wasn't hip about it because
Right.
they weren't hip about people learning to speak Navajo who weren't Navajo.
What was there a reason? Was that a cultural reason, or
Yes.
they just didn't?
There is a cultural reason, and it's called World War II. Because in World
Navajo
War,
talkers,
That's
wind
right.
talkers.
That's exactly
They don't
why.
want. They don't want.
Because there are so
You
few.
still got that
Navajo
up our
speakers.
sleeve.
Right.
Well,
We're gonna use that
not
later.
only that, but
It's a
because-
beautiful language too. It's
and
gorgeous.
It is, and it's a very. If you speak to anyone who speaks Navajo, they'll tell you it's a real descriptive language. When you get to learn the meaning behind the things, like even the way they pronounce language is inherently tied to the meaning of that language. It's a really cool fucking culture.
Really?
Oh man, it's
So like the words are way more descriptive than like English
like
words.
I can't remember the word for cold, but it literally sounds like you're cold when you say it. It has like a tss
No.
in it.
Wow.
Yeah, and the word for hot, it
It's
sounds
like-
like you're fucking hot. It's but and
Can you speak any Navajo or Apache?
no. Well, I can say, like, so in Navajo, dene, right? Which I'm horribly mispronouncing because no matter how well you say dene, no one who doesn't accept you outside, that's not
Right.
Navajo, is going to say you say it right.
Right.
So,
The only word I know in Apache I learned from working in the mine is muh, which means pussy.
Shade.
Muh. That's what I heard.
Shade.
And they're probably
That's
you
what
know,
you were
and all we
told.
and all, yeah, and that's what for all it means is like, can I have a kiss from you, dude? You know, like you don't
probably.
fucking know.
Yeah, yeah.
I
They
hope
got you good.
all of my Apache homies, I hope you're steering me in the right direction because I love you dearly. But anyhow,
No,
so,
they don't. They want to see you fail. So they can laugh. They don't.
That's all right.
And then they don't even laugh in front of you to let you know they're laughing at you. They do it with their eyes between them, and then you're laughed at and you don't even know it.
all right, that's all right.
It's
I mean,
fucking-
they,
well,
they have
that's-
they have every right in the world to
Hey,
do that.
what-
hey,
No.
get their kicks.
On Route 66.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't.
No.
give a- I
I'm
don't
not. I'm saying that to say like there's more language sometimes with some languages that happen more with the eyes and the facial
Right,
tones,
right.
and especially with Navajos, it's one of those things like if you have any Navajo friends, ask them to point at something.
Oh, they do the old
It's the old lips, right?
lips.
Yeah, and people that don't know that, it freaks them out.
Right.
They don't believe that.
They
There's no
they
way.
point with their lips.
Yeah.
And is that just a strictly Navajo thing, or is that Apache as well? Do you know?
Yeah, I've heard that it's more Navajo, but I have no idea. I haven't done as much.
'Cause I've seen Apaches at least make reference to the joke of
and,
like.
and understand what I know about like the Navajo culture. I just know from working with guys who are from that culture, and then the other Navajo word I know is shade, which is older sister. Because in Navajo,
Why do you know that word?
That's bringing on some questions.
because
my older
Lee and I were kind of surrogately adopted into a Navajo clan.
Really? Up here?
Yeah. Well, no, in Window Rock, which is the
Window Rock, by Chinle.
capital, which is the capital of the Navajo Nation.
Right.
Window Rock. But outside of Window Rock, a friend of ours had a hogan, and her family didn't have any males. They're all sisters.
Right.
And she was the only sister who was intent on bringing that land back, like to fixing it up and stuff.
Sure.
So all her sisters, like some of her sisters live in Gallup, and some of them are kind of scattered. And her dream is to turn her ancestral home into a place where her sisters can bring their families
Sure.
and they can
Wow,
all
that sounds
be raised right there.
Extremely admirable.
The
Well, you have to have
problem with
somebody
that,
in the family.
Yeah,
you
you
have
have
to
to,
have
right.
somebody to help with that shit. And this girl, she's older than me, so she introduced me to that Navajo word shade. I would be your older sister, because in the role that I knew them,
I thought I was hoping we'd get a little more porn hubby.
Little-
Yeah,
word.
I know.
Little
No,
juice
but
out
How
of
no,
it.
but that's
disappointed.
yeah.
It's just a strong, non-creepy fucking
Way of
male,
saying-
masculine and feminine bond.
Wow. Okay.
So I grew up kind of without any sisters. I have a younger sister now, but she was born way late, and she was adopted out, so I didn't know her as
Wait, as adopted
child.
out, as in like she
She
lives
was
with another
adopted by
family.
someone else.
System.
Yes.
Wow.
So, I didn't know her those years growing up. So for me, I have brothers, and I have two younger brothers, and I have a cousin who's like an older brother to me. So I
Right.
understand brothers, but I never really got to feel kind of platonic, safe feminine love, like sisterly love. I don't think.
Right.
So when I became an adult
Right.
male, like at 30, 35, I started re-examining a lot of the
Which
relationships.
which
I
seems
had with
odd
women.
because like 30, 35 seems to be the age where like all dudes, you either after 30, 35, you've got it figured at least something out, at least internally,
Yeah.
like you know who you are, you know what you want to
there's
be,
a little bit of maturation.
or
Yeah.
you fucking don't, and like
Or you
and
got
you,
your-
you're
or
lost
you,
forever,
Or you dick the dog, buddy.
or you dicking the dog down.
And like you said, like they say in the mine, right? You can build a million fucking bridges,
Right.
but you suck one dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're never
You
known as
suck
the bridge
one
builder.
dick, and you're gonna be known as a cocksucker. That's it. That's it.
Well, you know, but that's the way it
Just
goes.
one dick.
Just one.
But that's it. Like all it takes. It doesn't matter how much you fortify your like who you are, and like if you fuck up one time, Like that's it. It seems like
That's it.
everybody's there to celebrate. No one's really there to celebrate everything you do good.
No.
Well, people
you did good. Keep doing good.
Right.
keep doing
Go
good. Yeah.
Be about your
The
business.
second you fuck up,
They're on ya.
Everybody. You get like, and we'll
Toe
bring
the line,
social
motherfucker.
media into this.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody all of a sudden's got something to say about everybody on social media who's getting arrested. Oh, I can't believe they would do this. Don't they have kids?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Or
And it's
just
like,
or any
Take a look at your
topic
life,
or
man.
any topic that's opinion based, right?
Right.
Like anything that's opinion based,
Well, it's-
at some fucking inherent sense inside of you, you gotta realize there's gonna be another opinion.
always.
But to flatly refuse that there could ever be another fucking
Sure.
opinion,
and
just seems to
and
me
that's
to be.
why I steer so far away from politics and religion
yeah.
because
There's a great country song that says there are 3 things we don't talk about:
Well, yeah.
politics,
and that's-
religion, and her.
okay. I'm on board with that.
Well, and it's been told by our fathers and their fathers. You know, I mean,
Just don't talk about politics.
But we all do.
all
all
day,
do.
and that's because we've been reduced down to we have action. You know what? Before we
Like
go,
they
I don't
did,
want,
I'm sure.
I don't want to go too much into politics because I want to ask you more about your living situation here.
Oh, sure.
For at least for our listeners. So Skot and Lee's taken us all over this area, and what
We
are we in
have-
Coconino County?
So we are still in Coconino County. There's a point in Sedona where it transitions to Yavapai. That's down on West
Yavapai
Sedona
County.
where you guys came in.
Okay.
But this is all Coconino County, all the way up through here until you get up north towards the Grand Canyon.
And you guys live in your van.
We do.
And-
I prefer to say that we have a Chris Farley-like hotel
Down
room.
by the
And-
river.
We have achieved the dream. 'Cause
Right.
When he asked,
No, you guys-
When he asked David Spade in that sketch, he said, "What do you want to do with your life, young man?" David Spade said, "I want to live in a van down by the river." And he said, "You'll have plenty of time for that when you're living in a van down by the river." And it turns out, folks, you do. You
Yeah.
have plenty of time to. You have plenty
And,
of time
and
to do whatever
what
the
I
fuck you
what I
want.
really enjoy about like you and Lee's approach to this is like I wasn't entirely sure what to expect when we came out here. I really wasn't. And then I seen how happy you guys are out here, and I got like fucking and wildly jealous. Like, dude, this seems so simple. I'm out here paying a mortgage, working overtime, breaking my back, and you guys are fucking just playing volleyball, throwing a frisbee around. You guys built a bridge out of rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
dude, what a waste of fucking time.
You know, and
I'm sorry for me, but what a waste of time
you're
for me.
wasting your life,
no.
man. You
Here's
need to get your shit together.
Yeah, I know, Jason.
the approach at some point that I've learned, and for people that know kind of a little bit more of my backstory, my life has fallen apart completely, smashed to bits against the rocks, nothing left to put together. There comes a point, if you own a house and a hurricane comes through, right? By the way, that Katrina joke was a reference to a fucking Daniel Tosh joke. That wasn't me making fun of Katrina. That was Daniel Tosh doing it.
All right.
No, I just
Through
want to
you.
clarify for everyone else.
Through
Yeah,
you.
me. Well, he has a joke about that. He steps in a puddle one time and he's like, "Oh, is this what the people from Katrina felt?" But it's real sarcastic. So.
Obviously.
I want to clarify that
Not
because I didn't want people to think I wasn't sympathetic, right? Like,
No, that was a fucked up time, man. I was living in the South when it happened.
My little sister she just moved back from Nolans, you know what I mean?
Nolans.
So, yeah,
Nolans.
she just came
Yeah.
back from there, so I'm like, thank God, right?
Right,
My brother
right.
lives on the coast in Texas.
Right.
So literally, when Hurricane Harvey hit Texas,
Right.
I was on the phone in a Home Depot in Phoenix with my brother, and we both knew it was too late for them to evacuate.
Yeah.
And he's from Port Lavaca, where it hit.
No,
was
I know
where he
exactly where
works.
Port Lavaca is at.
Okay, so
Batten down the hatches,
Yeah,
man.
so he's in Victoria.
Right.
So there's a point where I'm talking to my brother on a Friday afternoon, and I realize that soon cell towers are going out.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so this might be.
So to back up a little bit,
You have to
you're
honk
not
3
being
times.
unsympathetic towards the people of
that
Katrina.
happened there.
But I want to talk more about your living situation here because
So-
this last night you guys fed me. It was raspberries, lemon juice.
Blackberries.
Oh, blackberries, lemon juice, and what was the other thing?
So it's
Lee-
amaretto macerated blackberries.
Amaretto.
Yeah. So
Man, it was
Disaronno. If you've ever had
amazing.
Disaronno, the base flavor in that's called amaretto. It's almond.
Yeah.
So it was. Did you like it,
cool.
Jason?
Almond-based.
Did you like it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
it was
So-
amazing.
Yeah, it was.
What a
really good.
life!
The
What a
re-
life to go.
Well, and to clarify, the recipe from that comes from my youth, man. Maceration is a quick way that you can prepare like strawberries for strawberry shortcake. If you don't have a lot of time to boil down strawberries and make like that gooey gel that you like on those,
Yeah.
you can just throw them in a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag, 2 tablespoons lemon juice, enough sugar to coat them.
Like harmless hooch.
harmless hooch, baby.
Yeah.
Throw it in that thing and let that mash build. That's why they call it a mash. It's all mashed up.
Right.
But the sugar and the acid and lemon will just slowly soften that fruit.
Really?
So for harder berries, it takes like 4 to 8 hours, which is blackberries.
Right.
You want to go a little
How
bit
often do you guys come down here and get berries?
What, 2-3 times a week now that they're in season.
Really?
Dude, they're amazing. Oh,
I've been picking
for all of our listeners. Yeah,
They're
we've been hiking
literally-
around picking these berries
like
and eating
good
them.
People on the camera, all this shit is blackberries.
Yeah, it's just everywhere.
Not right here, though.
It's everywhere.
Conveniently not to where I can
We've had
pick one.
Right, exactly.
apple trees out here.
Yeah. There's
Blackberries.
To be clear, too, Lee did a lot of research like on the blackberries just to show everyone. Like, I think Levi's gonna zoom in a bit.
okay.
I thought you were gonna turn it around and show blackberries. But these blackberries that grow out here, they grow wild. But with any wild fruit or berry, of course, you want to do some research before you go and pop that son of a bitch in your mouth. Cause the funny thing about mushrooms, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, Jason. Mushrooms contain enough energy to last you for the rest of your life if you eat the right one.
So to kill me. Wait, I just got that. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it.
Another interesting aside on mushrooms. The mushrooms that Mario uses to grow specifically in Mario World, so the red and white cap mushrooms, are actually a type of psychedelic mushrooms that were used by like Norse cultures back in the day.
Right.
But these mushrooms were so potent and powerful that they had to be filtered before they could be drank.
Hey, we got a blackberry here. I'm gonna
shit.
just go ahead and eat. Does anybody want this?
Steve Jobs.
Why
Blackberry.
are you going?
Eat it. I knew we came up here for a reason.
Those blackberries are amazing.
They are so.
And they grow wild here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're eating it right now.
Yeah. So therefore, when you pick them, you don't have
I'm
to feel
sure
bad
Bear
about it.
peed on it because.
So what? Bear pee's probably gonna be can't be bad for you.
No.
What does a bear drink?
Good
It's not like
for
bears
your-
drinking fucking
Good for your
root beer and fucking.
Chemically, all water is the same water that it's always been. Did you know that?
Yeah, so like every human
So-
ever in the history of time, we drank the same water like Hitler's drank. Drank the same water like.
That's why reverse osmosis water's bad, peeps.
Why is that?
Well, in plants, for example, anytime you create a vacuum inside of a water molecule,
Yeah.
and then you introduce that water molecule into a system,
Yeah.
the first thing it does is start to rebuild its chemical or DNA structural memory. So it will actually leach out the minerals that were in the water before.
Wow, okay. So like
Right.
what?
You want
Osmosis
those minerals.
Right.
You want
You
those
want
minerals. You
those
want
minerals.
spring water.
And
Right.
I hear if you have that just purified water,
Right.
that it'll actually suck out
Oh, yeah.
the minerals
Yeah.
from your body.
Right.
that
So
you- that
it's
you've
actually
earned.
bad
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
so
okay.
and
Reverse
But
osmosis.
it is water.
It's
Right.
not, and it's not that reverse osmosis is terrible. It's not like it's clean water. Like when they clean water to the point where they are cleaning like microchips with it, you can't exist off that water. If you drank only that water, you die because it doesn't absorb. It's so molecularly clean that it doesn't even leave a film on a microchip when they pull it out.
Wow.
So,
But I've been hearing some stuff too about like snow.
Well, sorry, excuse me.
And the water that we've been getting lately. It's got a lot of aluminum in it. It's
Hey,
got
can
lead.
we not bum ourselves out, please, with all this? I know not.
I don't think it's a. Listen, if you're in Arizona,
If you're in Arizona,
welcome to the rainy season.
We're God's chosen people.
we are. Our number finally fucking came.
Yeah,
up
right.
in
It
the
has,
Powerball.
man. Well, we've finally got a monsoon season we've been dying for.
All right, let's not talk shit about it. Then.
No, we're thankful.
But
think
I wanted to
everyone's
ask you out, talk to you about, or at least ask you flat out. Do you believe in ghosts?
great. Ooh.
Because you're such a logical, smart person. I want to know. So you don't. It's all right.
It's hard to answer that question without the definition, right? So
Right.
in a short version, I will say yes, 100%, without fucking unequivocally.
You do believe in ghosts.
I believe in ghosts.
Okay.
But are you scared?
No, I don't think so at all. I'm not.
You know what I said when he asked me? I ain't scared of no ghosts.
I ain't
Yeah,
scared
the
of no ghosts.
Ghostbusters reference.
I like that.
Hey, what about aliens? Are you on board with aliens?
No, I'm right here
thanks
with
for
you.
the
buddy.
blackberries.
But
That's what they told me to say. Help, I'm trapped.
Do you believe in aliens?
Well, yeah. I mean, the fundamental definition of aliens being life outside of our.
Which could be in an amoeba
It's out
or
of
like
our realm,
or
man.
not even
Mars
you know
or-
there are a lot of really good comparisons for this, and Neil deGrasse Tyson gives a real simplified version. Life as we define it is defined on things that are based on the things that our life is derivative of.
Sure.
So in another,
that's really deep. My drunk brain is trying to. I get what you're saying,
Sorry.
but no. No.
and that's not his.
It's what we define as life.
What we define as life, right? So in another system where maybe oxygen and carbon.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about this.
And
not everything's going to be the same, especially like in another planet, or
but on its level, it could still be sentient, right?
Right.
And so for them, they would look to us like that's the scariest thing about believing in aliens, is that the inherent belief is that if another species came to this planet, they wouldn't recognize us any more than we recognize ants, because they would be so fundamentally different, possibly.
Right. Jason brought up a very good point. We really wish on 4th of July that somebody would have made a meme somewhere of Will Smith storming the stage and slapping the shit out of an alien and saying,
right back to the ship.
Keep your fucking, what is it? Keep your aliens off.
Keep your alien ass
off
my planet.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's done that yet.
No one's done that.
Dude, what the hell? We're waiting, guys. America, get on it. You better make that fucking meme.
Yeah. Number one in innovation, my ass.
Falling way behind. I'm telling you.
All right. Yeah. Well, now, again, so what is it like day-to-day life for you guys? Like,
day-to-day life here is not much different than the time that I spent in prison, to be honest.
Really?
We're in it. No. I mean,
got some tang.
as far as the, as far as
sorry, my co-host.
There are people in prison who make that an availability as well at that. And if you're extremely dedicated to that, whatever.
Right.
But for what I mean is by the simplicity of with which you live.
Yeah.
Is very much the same, because the space you have available to you is the same. Like, we have a small storage unit that we rent, but the majority of our whole lives are contained in a 2005 Honda Odyssey.
That's
minivan,
awesome.
right?
God, when I seen you guys' little living quarters yesterday, I was like, how awesome is this? And then I wanted to give a shout, talk about Lee for a second.
Shout out to the one.
Dude, what Shaolin monk, dude, figured this out, that you guys initially, before you had your van, you guys had, what was it that,
we were actually displaced is the new current.
Not homeless.
Displaced, I guess.
I've been displaced before.
At that time, we were homeless. To understand, at the time, Lee and I lived behind the river in Safford.
Behind the river?
Or, I'm sorry, behind the...
Down
by the river. Behind the fucking theater,
actually.
Right. The theater.
Down there. River.
Shout out to my river peeps.
Yes.
But not people... Listen, if you end up going homeless, one piece of advice I'll give you, don't sleep under bridges, because trolls live there.
And bats.
Bats.
A lot of bats.
Trolls?
So
scary. I can imagine it's going to attract probably a lot of homeless people, and there's going to be, the more people there are, the higher the chance there's going to be somebody who's fucked up in that group. Am I wrong? Am I at least in the ballpark?
It's a congregant place, right? For bridges that are frequented by a lot of homeless people tend to be areas as well that are areas of drug addiction.
Sure.
So the little saying is just to tell you, remember the story when you were a kid where it's dangerous under bridges because of trolls. If you find yourself displaced, places that a lot of homeless people or displaced people congregate may not be the best places that are safest. Because within that subset, there is a higher ratio of drug addiction.
And there's a hierarchy as well.
Mental illness. And,
sure.
there are whole families that exist on the streets that you know nothing about. And they don't look like their family, and they don't have the same name. But you have no idea, especially in Flagstaff, if you say the wrong thing in front of the wrong homeless person here, it's a wrap, fellas. It doesn't matter if you're fucking from Lebanon or not. They're coming at you. These people have been displaced for so long and lived on the streets for so long that that's just the way they live. Yeah. And so Lee and I choose a kind of a different way. Approach. We know some of those people, and they're great fucking people. There's a guy that we know that I guarantee you would put on this podcast, and he would have to go viral. You know what I'm thinking about, right? The Comanche. Fucking Esteban.
Bring him on. What do we gotta do?
You gotta find this motherfucker. He's
take the table. We'll hunt him down.
True blood Comanche, Native American, and
he's Comanche blood.
True blood Comanche, like real legit, and he is as crazy as you've ever heard that they're supposed to be, and he is proud of it. It is not a stereotype to this man. It is a mark of his tribe that nobody is gonna go harder in a drum circle than this dude. He'll drop 28 drops of acid in his eyeball and drum for 8 days if you believe all of his stories, right?
Yeah, if you believe the stories, which I've got no reason not to.
But they're such good fucking stories.
Right. Dude, sometimes I don't even mind if I'm listening to a lie, so long as it's entertaining.
Make it, please.
That's all it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I can plead to you from people who can smell your bullshit a mile away, we don't mind that you're bullshitting everyone. Just make it good bullshit.
Yeah,
and quit painting the picture that you're somehow ahead of somebody else. Like you got something else figured out.
Crabs in a bucket.
Dude, I hate hearing it. I don't mind listening to a lie. There's times I heard a guy talk about being from Detroit, and I'm from Detroit. And
Pre-roll.
here's the thing:
I
is
told
that,
you that in confidence.
Yeah, 8 Mile.
well, yeah. Well, the thing is, he's talking about how he's like beating up all these gangsters with the chain, and because and I'm like, okay, I'm listening. I'm still listening. Like, okay, but then like, look, because that's who I am. I'm just tougher than everybody else. I'm like, that's where you lost me.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's
If
the
you
deal.
don't have any humbleness, to know
Humility.
that-
You don't have any humility to your fucking story. Whether it's
There's-
truth or
Well, and people for that, what you have to look to is because there are multiple reasons, right? Like you look in a community that we grew up in.
right.
You can say that now,
Right.
but when we were kids, you wouldn't dare not be as tough as the fucking next
Oh,
kid.
you'd get your ass kicked, right?
You're not gonna not get in the river.
Graham
'cause you're
County,
fucking.
dude.
You know
Everybody,
what I mean?
Graham
Like,
County, it was like it's a fucking rough place to grow up.
rough and
Well,
tumble.
I'll tell you. First of all, I wouldn't back down. I don't care how big the motherfucker was.
Fucking Tom Petty.
Didn't give a shit. I would take my licks. I mean, hell, I was chased home when I was in 3rd, 4th grade.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna paint the picture.
Like-
I was constantly getting my ass kicked,
like-
but I was also
Here's-
fighting.
by 20
Have you guys
fucking
ever seen
people, you know,
Have you guys ever
like-
seen a movie called Knockaround Guys?
No, I've not seen that movie.
You have to watch this movie. It's an early 2000s flick, and it stars Vin Diesel, Seth Green,
Oh,
and John
I have
Malkovich.
seen it. Does he have the Star of David tattooed on his arm?
Yes,
Vin Diesel?
'cause
Yes.
in the movie, he's a
Yes,
Jewish dude, right?
yeah.
He makes a speech about being a tough guy in a bar. They go in this town. He picks out the toughest guy there. For a little insider inside the studio, that tough guy happens to be WWE's own Bill Goldberg, who at the time was WCW wrestler.
Right.
So he walks up to this dude and he makes a speech, and he said, when I was a kid, because he says 500. And the dude's like, 500 what, douchebag? Literally spits on his boot.
Right.
And he's like, when I was a kid, 500 street fights was what I figured would make you a real tough guy. He goes through the speech, and he's like, but you learn a lot of things on the way to 500. If you meet people who are really tough guys, they've taken losses. There's
Right.
no undefeated, true, tough
Guy.
motherfucker out there.
Ever.
Right.
Right.
Period.
Everybody's been beaten.
And if
Right.
it wasn't by somebody bigger than you, it was by life.
Right.
Fuck, it might have been by your old lady, homie.
Yeah, you never know. And like, and when somebody's acting tough with me, I always feel kind of sorry for him a little bit. Like,
A bit.
Like, yeah, like I know you haven't taken the beating that you probably deserve at this point yet, and I certainly don't want to be the guy that gives it to you, but like,
Life
But
hasn't taught you
keep-
this
yeah.
lesson.
Keep on,
keep
keeping
it
on,
on.
and,
Whoa,
and
who's that?
you're
Oh,
gonna
Joe,
learn today.
Joe Dirte.
Well, this is.
Have you seen Joe Dirt?
Yo, have I seen it? I lived it.
Yeah.
I am Joe Dirt. They left me at the Grand Canyon. I think I ended up in Arizona.
Can I get another? Can you have Matt bring me another Bud Light
We're
Lime?
gonna leave Matt
We're gonna
over
do
at the fucking, at the
Yes.
dam, and
Thank you so much. This is the last one.
like, what if we
Okay.
just left Matt at the
Dang,
dam?
man.
Oh my God, he'll make it. He'll learn. There's
be all right.
blackberries, bro. He'll
He'll be
adapt.
fine.
So, what's the furthest you've ever traveled away from home? When I say home, Graham County.
So, during my youth, well, the first I've ever traveled, I guess, was New York City.
Oh, you went to Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
You sang in Carnegie Hall. I couldn't
did.
believe the story last night.
We did. There was a group of us. It wasn't just me. They weren't like, hey, fucking Carnegie Hall presents this fucking asshole.
Right.
It was like a whole group of fucking assholes in high school who
Right.
we were lucky enough that our choir director at the time actually got an invite
Right.
to bring some kids up for this cool opportunity. And it was a Martin Luther King Jr. Day remembrance concert.
Wow,
it was
what an
January
honor.
21st. It
Yeah,
was really
what-
cool. And
yeah.
we did it. Through that, there were a lot of like works by a great American composer named Aaron
Poser or composer?
Composer.
Oh.
Hey, he may have been a poser.
Yeah,
the
he
more
may
I,
have been.
the
He's
more I
a-
learn
he's
about
a poser
people,
composer.
the more I learn about people that publish
Composer,
music,
poser.
I'm like, wait a minute, right?
Blink 183. So wait,
Don't blink.
so what happened? Walk me through, like, so what was it like seeing New York City for the first time as a country bumpkin?
So the first thing that happened, they don't.
I don't smoke.
And I feel bad even getting around them.
Not on
They got
camera.
Way over there.
Not on camera.
Gotta take that, but thank
Oh,
you.
Levi, it won't get in your system.
Shut up.
It's CBD, so it's fine. We only dab dabs.
Where did Matt go?
He lives.
He's in the
He
truck.
lives in the
truck?
canyon now.
Okay, so now walk me through this.
Belongs
So
to
you're,
Canyon now.
He belongs to
belongs to
It's in the Lord's hands now.
We didn't talk about the sacrifice on the way up here.
Oh, I guess I missed that.
It was a good thing you brought Matt, man, because I was like, how's the show gonna continue?
Right.
Have to have somebody.
So you're.
So I'm going
what
through
was
the
it like
process.
seeing New York City for the first time, or like?
Fuck. So the craziest thing, the biggest place I'd ever been in before that was probably like, we went through Dallas Fort Worth on a Greyhound bus.
Right.
And spent some time like in the downtown area there, like a day. And so I'd seen like this kind of big city. But I'd only flown before that once, and that was from Tucson to Kansas. And flying into Kansas is like flying into Tucson. There's nothing, right? So you just get there. At some point, someone says you're here, and then you trust them and get off a fucking plane.
Right. It's not like there's like the Empire State Building or
But
the Golden Gate
so
State
we
Bridge.
got the chance to fly into New York City at night, and we flew in and landed at Newark Airport. And so all of a sudden, you just see lights fucking everywhere.
No, everybody's all right. We're good.
You don't look all right, buddy. You need a full face respirator to be in here
I've
with
just-
PNPR.
It wouldn't take much for me to get
got this phobia,
accidentally
man, like-
stoned. It's all right. I'm allowed to have it.
That's
So-
what they say.
What happened? So you're in New York City.
That's how the government makes the list.
Well, you meet the
So,
Wu-Tang Clan and Joe Pesci. What happened?
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
No, hell no.
But so we get there. It's nighttime.
They're
We
for
fly in.
they're for the children.
We fly in. It's medicine for my
Wu-Tang
cataracts.
Wu-Tang Clan's for the children.
So we fly in.
Go on,
And-
I'm listening.
If you close your eyes and picture along,
Okay, a lung,
picture lights
a lobe.
everywhere
Okay.
as far as you can see, as if lights were the individual droplets in the ocean, and you're looking out on the ocean from the beach. And then on the other side of that, there's pure, abject, absolute darkness.
Would that be the Atlantic
That's
Ocean?
That's the Atlantic Ocean at night,
Wow.
right? So you just see and that's the best I can give to you. I just saw more lights than I've ever seen in my whole life because they never stopped.
Right.
Like you fly into Tucson or Phoenix, yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
they
big
stop.
group of lights, but
They
then
stop out
there's
in Oro
there's
Valley
the
and-
edge of town.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
like, this place never fucking ends, right?
Right.
And then we fly in, and we get to the hotel, which we were lucky enough to get to stay at the Grand Hyatt Hotel on 42nd and Park Avenue.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Grand Hyatt. Free rooms, bitch. No?
Please. No.
So
Nice.
we spent a week there. A couple of blocks away from there was a little church where we were just booked to rehearse kind of in the basement of this really beautiful church. And during that time, I was lucky enough to get to, there were kind of two tour groups of us. One group, which Peggy Lutz.
Peggy
Everybody
Lutz.
you know was
What's
there.
up, Peggy Lutz and
went
Chad
to-
Lutz? I love those guys.
Peggy Lutz went to New York with us. She was there.
I don't know
So-
the Lutz.
Oh, they're good people. Really
So
good people.
They're really good people. And her mom is one of the sweetest ladies in the world, man. She
Right.
played piano for
Right.
our choir.
All Mormons play piano. Here's one.
Don't say that, because there are some LDS kids out there whose fingers don't work properly. You're going to make them feel
I'll
real
tell
self-conscious.
you
I wanna say
what.
this.
I'll tell you what. I was
You-
learning when I was like 9.
Like 9, like the German word.
9.
I told you my theory on that word, right?
Oh yeah,
But,
I heard about
That's a freaky
9
German.
fingers in the butthole.
Oh, you gave away the punchline.
9.
Oh shit, I did. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, you didn't. You
Hey,
didn't.
real quick
There's
though,
no
but
punchline.
is it just me? The stereotype is, if you can speak Spanish and play piano, and it brings up the chance you've more likely been on a mission.
Really?
I would think so.
So
As
you're-
for a
so
Mormon.
you're- So
Well,
you're telling me.
For Mormons.
Okay, I was gonna say, well,
Yeah,
hold
for
on, 'cause
Mormons.
technically, you don't know my whole life, baby.
Are you Mormon too?
Oh boy,
Yeah.
is he!
See?
Not only that, I was baptized by one of the most famous Mormons in the area at the time. and I
Joseph
can't-
Smith baptized you.
No,
Who's the most famous? Because Riley Woods or John Clegg's the most famous.
I'll tell you.
You're talking
we'll
in
have
Safford area?
So we'll have a conversation later at the campsite.
Well,
about this one, 'cause I
hey,
can't.
I'm-
This person.
I was baptized
This person, I
LDS.
can't. Say,
Sure.
I can't.
What-
And I wouldn't.
Can we
for-
talk about the Avenging Sevenfold
the
Doctors of
so-
Death or whatever?
That depends
Can
on
we-
how many LDS
What ward
listeners
were
you
you
wanna
in?
lose real quick.
How many wards were you in?
So
7th?
in Duncan,
You were in 7th.
Duncan,
In Lebanon.
I didn't live in Lebanon when I was there. I lived in Hollywood. I was
Hollywood,
in
man.
I was in Solomon Ward. Shout out Solomon Ward.
Love
Oh,
Solomon.
okay.
No, I'm
I
just
never
kidding. I
did
wasn't
Solomon.
actually. You know, do you remember a girl named Sarah Lynn Harris?
I don't.
Harris.
Shout out Sarah Lynn Harris. She was in my grade in school. Her dad was Bishop George Harris, so he was. I think they were first ward, but where I was at by that time, I wasn't a practicing member of the LDS community. So her dad stopped by and talked to me one night when I was in high school, and because they had asked me if I wanted to have my names taken off the rolls at like the records. You
I
know?
wish they fucking asked me that.
What's-
Well,
what-
here's what they do. So then I said yes, please. Because at the time I was attending church out at Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church.
Oh, okay, I remember this church. Okay.
Yeah, the little pink church out there
Right,
with
by
my
Joby's.
grandparents. Sure. And that church,
Yeah.
that church was an offshoot of Stargo Baptist Church from back in the 70s that all these families had attended, and then they moved it down to Safford eventually. So most of the people that attended that church were like my aunts, uncles, cousins, and the other families that we knew through that church.
Right.
There was like 15 people going. It
Right,
wasn't like,
right.
So I told them, I was like, yeah, I'm going to, I go to church there. Yeah,
Sunday.
and there were 3 churches in our association in Arizona, and at the time I spoke to the bishop, I was their state youth president.
Right.
Believe it or not, at one time I did give one message as a Baptist minister.
Really?
I tried out. The kid tried out, but that's another story.
Do you know Jason and his friend Rob took acid at a Mormon camp out?
No, it's peyote. It was peyote. And weed.
Dangerous.
And weed. And booze.
Oh yeah.
It was great. Like, we were...
You were what?
We were Boy Scouts.
Okay, good.
So,
I was hoping you were going to say like we were 30. It was crazy.
all these little boys.
No, not like that.
I was
Just
a
like,
little boy.
He was a little boy. Well, let's be sure.
Well, you know, when you start talking about taking like fucking acid to a Boy Scout trip, people are like,
Dude,
wait.
Jason was a fucking crazy ass.
Well,
he's an animal.
Right. And so from what I hear too is like a lot of our scout leaders knew whenever I took Rob with me,
Something was gonna pop off.
dude, like they're like, all right, they're out now. They're they went to bed at 7 a.m. Or 7 p.m. The fucking sun's still up.
Right.
Everybody else is all bouncing around, still full of energy. Not us, dude. We were out.
Just fucking
Out. We ditched all the activities. Got all fucked up.
What on LSD you said?
No, it was peyote.
Peyote?
And marijuana.
Where'd you get peyote from? You got your sources?
Where didn't
hey,
you get peyote?
Can I ask you really fast? Is it you said last night that your first hallucinogenic
I can't
experience
tell you my
was
sources,
DMT?
DMT.
Where'd you do it at?
In a house. No.
Was it Bufa or?
No.
Or,
So what? My first experience with psychedelics.
I was gonna bring.
My first experience with any drug other than, and not even drug, with any other substance other than marijuana.
Yeah.
I'm 40 now, so I was like 35 years old.
The first time you tried anything outside of it?
Anything outside of that.
Okay.
I wasn't really, like, so growing up, my mom
bullshit.
did enough drugs for everybody at the fucking table.
Right.
Right? So even if I would have
Hey,
liked
send me
drugs,
one of those wedges.
Like, even if I would have liked drugs when I was little, my mom wouldn't have saved me any.
Right.
Right?
Dude, this is so weird.
So it's not a matter she didn't want you to fucking do them. She didn't want to share them.
I don't know if you know anybody who likes
Stingy ass.
cocaine. No.
What a bad mom.
Yeah, terrible.
She did her best. She did her best.
Rachel did
I mean,
better.
fuck, I'm here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are here. Thank God.
The things that my mom taught me through this crazy upbringing I had are the things I've been able to turn to in these situations, that I've been in my life that inherently bring me back to like, oh, you've been here before.
Right.
And it didn't have to be bad that time because your mom was there and she didn't make it that bad. It was just another thing.
Right.
If we were going through something, it was just another thing we were going through.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you're used to it.
in the
Conditioned.
in the 2 days I've
Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
I mean, kind of as a
Well,
kid,
no,
right?
yeah, you're conditioned.
But
And I understand that.
well, you're the same. Are you saying that
Oh.
you understand that because you also went through the same thing?
Well,
Did you? Can I ask you a
foster
question?
Child.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
foster child.
yeah. And so for me, it was kind of the same. Like I was raised by my grandparents in this very stable home until 2nd grade, and then in 3rd grade, I went back with my mom, and
Damn near the same
Right.
fucking.
and she didn't know she had all 3 kids at once that she had, and she was only having one of them at a time, at all ever, right? So all of a sudden, she's this single, fucking, 20-something-year-old woman with 3 kids spaced 3 years apart.
Right.
Now, I'm not knocking my parents either.
No.
You know?
No,
I
no.
mean, my father built what he had to work with,
Right,
Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, I was a very meek child, like, just quiet.
You were not fucking quiet.
You brought it out in me.
2nd grade, you were not. I remember you telling me you wanted to
No,
bang some girl named Erica. We're in 2nd grade. I was like, what does bang mean? Like, you want to like fucking kill her? Like I had no idea. Jason was out of his mind.
I got.
Why are you so horny? You've been horny since the day you were born.
I got expelled for showing my wiener when I in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
I've been.
But she said, "Show me yours, and I'll show you mine."
So you
I
pulled
was
your dick out?
So I pulled my dick out.
So,
Liar.
and you want to be a politician?
In front of
She was a
2
liar.
girls.
You want to be a politician?
She was a liar.
What a liar.
She lied, dude. She went and ratted me out. I was fucking expelled. Bullshit. Whoever you were, I don't remember because I'm so fucking mad.
Christy
So
McCormick.
This man could
I
have
don't know.
cured, this man could have cured 3 types of cancer by now, but you got his
You
ass sent
fucked
home
them all up. You sent him. Yeah.
over a bullshit sex offender claim.
Yeah, it's
You
just
asked
a
to see
little
that?
dick.
You set
Did
the
he say,
whole.
yeah, when they say little dick, we mean little dick.
Little dick.
That's
God,
the
no
only-
wonder she turned me in.
The
Yeah.
only time in my life I've ever come close, I had to go to court in Safford one time on an indecent exposure charge, but the judge threw it out. He said there was a lack of sufficient evidence, if you know what I'm talking about.
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
I don't. I've got the world's biggest dick, and everybody knows it.
It's true. It's true.
I'm just
I
playing.
was
I'm
watching
just
a
playing.
peon
I'm
there.
not. You're European.
where it was going.
European. I'm
I'm
a
a peon.
peon. We're all a peon.
We're
So
all-
anyhow,
Unless you're headed up the hill to the Port of John, then you're a Russian.
then you're yeah right. Which they're not. Europe's not a part of Russia, or is it
You're a
Asia?
Russian. You're Asia. I'm America.
Right.
Yeah! I win!
Have you been out of the country before?
Well, you know,
Just to Mexico.
just when you're talking to me, I don't like talking to people from Moscow
Why?
because they're always rushing me.
Really riding the coattails with that last joke.
all right, let's
Stop
go.
it. Stop
Pun.
it. Stop it.
You want to
Keep
hear a
going.
really?
Okay,
I'll break it up with something interesting. Are you ready to take a nap? Did you know that the Russian word vodka and
Yaka?
the Gaelic word whiskey translate to mean the exact same thing?
No, I didn't know that.
What?
Water of life.
No shit.
Yeah.
I believe
so
it.
next time you're
It gives
fucking,
you life.
Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
and to all those FMI wives, next time you're cluttering up the fucking parking lot in your fucking tights drinking your life water, that's not the real one, Becky.
Yeah.
Not
Right?
the real one.
Yeah, get
Grab
the
some
fucking
fucking
vodka
Jack
in
You know,
half,
you know
bitch.
what? You know what the
System, honey.
Irish word for word is?
I
Say it.
don't.
It's fuckle.
Is
Fuckle?
it really?
Yeah, I heard a
Fuckle?
little Irish boy told me this on a bus in
Oh,
Dublin.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
believe that.
Well, you know what?
yeah.
He could have totally been fucking with me.
I
but
wouldn't
I'll take it.
believe
Hey, let's
that.
Google that. Do we got some
He's
fucking?
gonna be right
do we
around.
got some Wi-Fi
There
here?
exists no
Fuckle,
services.
fuckle,
Fuckle.
fuckle.
Word. So anyhow,
Word
so
What an interesting fuckle.
what an
Fuckle up.
yeah.
I like that.
Word up.
I'm really bad with fuckles.
Do you ever mispronounce words on purpose?
Yeah,
Do I mispronounce fuckles on purpose?
Yeah.
I do to fuck with people because it's fun.
Yeah.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like
What's-
if you put the accent on the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I mean?
I seen a perfect example of this in the movie Megamind. Whenever the bad guy in the movie says, "I'm feeling so melancholy right now," and it's
Yes,
you know what I mean?
melancholy, right?
Melancholy.
There's another
Right.
throwback to I forget the name of the movie, but it's like a political movie. And the
political
dude
movie.
says he's trying to say what the character's intending to say is it's all been a big show. But what he says instead is, yeah, you thought you were the smart one, but it's all been a big facade. Instead of a facade.
A facade. A
He's like,
fucking.
it's all been a big facade. So I use that one liberally.
Yeah. It's been a
I don't
big
know how much
facade.
time. Listen,
Oh,
there
man.
are a couple of stories, man, that I don't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
leave without telling you.
No,
fucking
yeah. Let's
people.
hear him. Let's see where we're at in time.
God.
Gotta go.
Yeah, 6 hours over.
We
This will
have
be heavily edited.
we have about I would say we have about 20 more minutes.
Oh, that's plenty of time.
All right, can I
brother.
pee really fast? You guys tell
You
me, Jason,
can-
I'll be there.
I'll tell you what you can do. You can pee at any speed you like. So this is America.
Hey, our fucking
just
mixer.
close
do we
your
have any
eyes,
kind of
he'll
dry-
pee
I
his
think dry, we could
pants.
wipe
I
the
thought-
screen of our
I thought.
mixer.
Just pee your pants, man.
Peter Pan.
I mean, your pants are already wet. Your short pants. Your short pants are already wet. Go in the creek.
And we'll just fill dead space.
Oh, well, we're dying now. We're
Well, no, so
come
in
on,
preparation
come on.
for this, I wrote down. So Jason, I want to do since Levi's peeing. This just came to my mind. If you'd like to,
He's a peeing.
you can look through, and I don't know if Levi's. I
No, I
sent
don't-
Levi this. No. What I want you to do is look through these story topics here, these ones,
Oh,
and see
okay.
if one strikes you as interesting enough that you'd like to hear about it.
Well,
And just
keep
tell me,
talking.
and I'll fucking tell you.
Keep talking.
So the couple of stories that I want to get in. First of all, a couple of shout outs, man. Shout out to everybody from Safford, Arizona, Graham County, Duncan, Arizona, that fucking area. All of you that are there, everybody that works in the Freeport, McMoran, Copper Mine, both in Safford and Morenci, man. Stay safe. Keep safe. I know you're fucking listening to this while you should be listening for like a backup alarm. So turn it down for a minute, right? Hydrate.
Well, can I see what
look
the- what's
around, figure out where you're at, and then tune back into the AYSM podcast.
Your mama saw.
Yeah, I want to hear that one right now.
Didn't do it.
I
So
want to hear that one right now.
okay, all right. So for those of you who are unaware, and Levi, you have these, right? You have I sent you a picture of these.
I have
Feel free to post them, man.
Sure.
These are just the way that I keep my memories in order, and because there aren't a lot of
and
people.
when we get back to camp, dude, we could go through those.
Boom.
Too.
You guys get to hear anything you want.
Right.
I tell you all the behind the scenes shit.
Right.
But
Yeah, no.
so it was early in 94, and we were living in Lordsburg, New Mexico, and my mom had married this dude named Johnny, and we moved right to. So if you ever get to Lordsburg, like the very first set of like trailers that you see on the right hand side, there's a bunch of like scrap cars out on the side of them. That's where we lived at the time. Now this guy's no longer alive. He died many years ago, unconnected. So I don't. It's not like I'm giving away his address or anything. But we lived there as kids, and I attended Lordsburg Middle School for a bit.
Yeah.
And at that time, something that on the East Coast people might know as dozens, the dirty dozens or dozens. Out here, it was just yo mama jokes.
Right.
So kids would group around together at lunch, and two kids would just start criticizing each other's mothers, right, in creative and fun ways.
Right.
As they do.
And just like the Wilbur Valderrama show, but much more entertaining when it's in like a third grade at Lordsburg fucking middle school.
Fuck yeah.
Is dudes going in super hard on your mom and out of context. So, screen grab. You know what I like is in fourth grade when dudes are going down their mom.
He's going
That's what I mean.
super hard on my mom.
Man. Who's not your dad?
Yeah, we got a show for hours.
So you would just, berate someone's mother until the point where they could no longer come back almost instantly.
Right.
If they didn't have something in the chamber, it's a fucking gunfight.
Right. It's like a rap battle.
And I'm from Arizona. Pow, pow.
Right.
So every time at lunch, I quickly developed a couple of fucking bangers that I knew, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then I'd pace it out, and I'd get the new white kid. That's how I kind of found acceptance in a crowd. I was really good at these yo mama jokes, mostly because I watched a lot of like Mad TV and shit like that, and In Living Color at the time.
A lot of fucking old comics, unrated.
And listen, my mom has passed away. She's been gone years. God rest her soul. So when I tell yo mama jokes, they ain't about mine. So if you're listening, haha, yo mama's so fat, she jumped up in the air and got stuck.
Right. I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that one.
Do shit like that, or say like, your mom's so fat. She ran down the street last week, and 3 kids thought they missed the bus.
Right. I
Something
remember
like that.
all these things.
Yeah.
These are like, for the 90s or whatever. Like this was like.
It was like
cutting edge.
And if you had a new one, pow, you were in, because the whole place would drop. It was like the closest you could get as a young white kid to being in a freestyle rap battle that mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not Eminem, but right here on the schoolyard, haha,
your mama's
teeth are so yellow when she spits butter. Ah!
Oh,
your mom's so fat when you cut her leg, gravy come out. Ah!
Right.
And everybody goes fucking crazy. So the best one that I ever heard, though, was actually in the Marine Corps. Shout out Lance Corporal Robert Tootin. We were trading some yo mama jokes, and this kid Tootin, he's so funny, but he was so like reserved. No, he was just reserved.
Right.
But he had a really good sense of humor, but he wasn't hip to current shit like that at the time. He didn't grow up in that shit.
Okay.
So he's like, everybody's like, yeah, your mama this, your mama that. And then Tootin looks up and he goes, well, your mama's so gross. When I look at her, I'm like, ugh. Just like, I'm like, what the fuck was that?
I wouldn't even fuck your mama.
That is not a joke. That is not a diss. That is not even, that's just a statement.
What is that, man? Like,
just made a sound with your
but
noise.
you just couldn't even think of anything mean enough to say about someone's mom because that guy was so nice. Maybe that's what it was. And I was just a dick. I'm like,
so nice.
I got 8 in the chamber. Your mom's a hoe. Your mom's loose. Your mom fucked the
I
whole
wouldn't
town.
even.
Oh yeah, you gotta have like some off the hip.
But
and then I had
what that came down
and
to
then growing
is
up,
that he wouldn't even fuck your mom.
Here's the deal. Growing up, I had the perfect comeback. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I'd say, your mom this and that, your mom this and that. And then they'd come back at me at certain times and say, well, your mom this and that. And say, oh, yeah? You know my mom? You went down to the prison and registered as a fucking visitor and got approved on her visit list and went in and saw her. Did you? Did you take her a burger? Because we did when we went. Was it a food visit, puppy? And they'd be like, oh, shit, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, that works both ways. For example, my brother TJ, do you remember a teacher at the middle school named Mrs. Potts?
No, I never remember. No.
She was a bigger size lady. She passed away in Burger King eating a burger. Had a heart attack.
In Burger King.
Those are
Where, here in town?
No. Well, not here in town. They're in town.
Oh, in Safford.
This Burger King don't kill people.
Safford's Burger King kills people.
I didn't say that. Levi said that shit.
Wait, can I? Your
Home of
mom,
the
your mom is so fat that it takes hula hoops to hold up her socks. I remember hearing that on the bus as a kid, and I laughed really hard. That was a good one. Anyhow,
Yeah.
oh, but and you remember the diarrhea songs? When you're driving in a Chevy and you feel something heavy, diarrhea.
When you're sliding into first and you feel
sudden burst,
diarrhea.
Or if you're sliding into third and you feel a heavy turd,
Diarrhea.
diarrhea. All right, so go on. So
I wish somebody would have remade that the way that Green Jelly made the Three Little Pigs.
Oh
You know
yeah,
that song?
green jelly. Yeah.
Little
But
instead it's like,
let me.
when you're sliding in the first and you're feeling something burst, diarrhea.
Diarrhea. Wait, the concept album. We're fucking leaving money on the table.
I started writing a punk song in prison, and I
we're
want
way
you to
better
finish
than
it. And the
this.
only lyric I have is, I want to be a nonconformist too. I want to not do all the things you don't do. And then take it from there.
From there.
That's yours.
Right. Well, okay. Wait. I want to hear the.
So you heard the Yo Mama jokes.
I wanted to hear the.
What was the other one?
It was the.
Oh! So, for a time, I lived in Tucson, Arizona. Shout out Tucson.
Pulp Fiction.
T-Town.
T-Town, too
Fuck,
strong.
If you are not a Tucson Toros fan, don't step to me, son.
Don't do it.
Older than you. 1982. Born and not raised in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, you're born
But
in
for a
Tucson.
short time, we did stay in
My
Tucson a
wife was
couple
born
different places.
in Tucson.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
was
right.
mine,
She
actually.
was
My
born
wife was
on-
also
where
born in
was
Yeah,
she?
she was born. What do you mean?
Bang, but on the, because I know Mary's born on the base, right?
Oh no, my
TMC
mine
or
was,
UMC? Which game does she play for?
You know, I don't know.
Which team?
Probably TMC.
What about
Yeah,
Pulp
maybe.
Fiction?
Yes,
What happened
maybe.
with Pulp Fiction?
So I'm living in Tucson. I'm going
Pulp
into
Fiction.
the end of my 8th grade year at this point. I started that year in Safford School. I've already transitioned, been in Yuma for a couple of months, and now we live in Tucson.
Okay.
We're living in a area of Tucson known as South Benson Highway.
Oh, I know exactly where you're at.
Yeah,
The hood.
if you're out
That's
there,
scary.
if you're out there on South Benson Highway, you're still alive. Fucking
Dude,
good job, homie.
like Drexel
Keep your head
Heights
down.
and that area is fucking
Off
gnarly.
Valencia and
Woo.
shit. That shit's no joke.
God
Oh,
damn,
yeah.
no, seriously.
That's,
Like,
Country club, and so there's a
I
place.
think that's where my wife.
Everybody
grew up,
with
too.
everybody with your phone out, homie.
Yeah,
Google it right now.
she
The
wasn't
Howdy
allowed
Manor
out.
Motel.
She wasn't allowed.
It's called the Howdy
outside.
Manor?
The Howdy Manor Motel, right down the street from the Scotsman's Motel, right down the street from Eagle's Nest fucking trailer park, right? So this was at the time one of the worst areas in Tucson. By far.
it probably still is.
Well, you know what? There are some good people investing in solid property there. To be honest, not to sound like a real estate agent, but
people.
we've been there recently.
Bill Gates.
The VA's doing work where they've taken a lot of those.
Oh,
old
you know what?
hotels.
We've been there recently too. We picked up Amanda from the airport.
You know
it's
why
actually coming. It's
you know why
developing.
it's looking like that?
Why?
The VA bought all those properties and they're turning it into VA housing for displaced homeless people, for displaced vets, and they're letting the vets do the revamps of the place and live there while they're doing it as well.
Wow.
So they're really trying something different down there in Tucson. They have to, right?
Something's got to be done. Right.
They have to. It's one step away from favelas down there.
No,
you know?
no, seriously, it
And,
really is.
So the place we lived in was Howdy Manor Motel, and it almost had dirt floors. You know what I mean? Borderline.
Right.
But the guy who ran the place, he was actually like the boyfriend of the girl whose parents owned it or something.
Okay.
So they lived there too, and her name was Angel, and his name was I can see his face, but I can't recall. Reyes. That was his first name.
His
Reyes.
first name was Reyes.
That's just what he went by.
It's
Reyes.
like Ricky Bobby, but Mexican.
Ricky Bobby, but Mexican.
All right.
And he was a shorter Mexican guy, had kind of long hair, and he was a pretty solid dude, man. We were young at that time, so my mom would take off for like a week, 2 weeks at a time.
Okay.
And during that time, like, we ate, me and my younger brothers would eat because there was a little old man who would come from the food bank and bring all the extra bread.
Okay.
So we would just like
Eat bread.
Yeah, bread sandwiches, bro. That's how I learned to love bread. I learned
I
like
love
pumpernickel and sourdough and shit because
Right.
we didn't have anything but bread. So we fucking ate bread.
Right.
So, and you couldn't, because you can't at 12 go down to the food bank and be like, we're here for the food. And they're like, where's your parents? And
You
you're like,
can't?
"Ha!" No, you have to be an adult. You have to register with that shit.
So a fucking hungry ass kid can't go down to the food bank.
No. Well, at least they couldn't back then. I'm sure they still can't now. You have to register with the food bank, and they have to take your information for part of their statistical keeping.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So but there
they
are
couldn't open
outreaches,
their-
I'm sure, where
Right,
they feed hungry
right.
children.
Okay.
But down on South Benson Highway,
Right.
there weren't.
It's a whole other-
So it was just one old man who would gather up all the
What
extra
what
shit.
year was this? Pulp
95.
Fiction. So I said, if you're mentioning Pulp
95.
Fiction, yeah, okay.
Because this is right before I came back to start my freshman year in high school. It was the end of 8th grade year.
Okay.
So it was 1995. It was summertime. So literally I got a short-term job for a couple of days for these guys who were doing some hot tar roofing. If you've ever done hot tar roofing,
Fuck all that.
right? You know the kettle, how it has the automatic stirrer on the bottom? Well, their stirrer was broke because they were just these dudes doing this job. And so my job for those 2 days was to walk around the kettle with a boat oar and just scrape the hot tar and make sure that
Off the bottom side.
off the bottom side, and make sure that it didn't get too set. Because if it got too set, they would throw tiles at you. Like, they're doing work. You know what I mean? They're saying, we don't care that you're 12, motherfucker. We're going to pay you at the end of the day. So it is what it is. So I only did that for like 2 days, and that earned a little bit of money just to buy some odds and ends and shit. But Reyes, every Friday, would have like this big barbecue where he would cook like racks of ribs or hot dogs or burgers or something. And this dude would make sure that every kid in that park ate. You know what I mean? Without trying to do anything fucking weird. So he invites me and my brothers one time. My mom's been gone a while. So he's like, hey, fuck, man. He's done the cookout, but he still sees that we got nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Right.
And he's like, do you guys want to come over to mine and Angel's house? And I've got another friend that's over here with us. Do you guys want to come over and just hang out and eat, and you guys can watch TV? Because we have AC. They had a swamp cooler, not AC, but it was cooler
Next
than where
best
we were
thing.
at, yeah? So we're like, yeah, hell yeah. So we go in there, and he's like, here, there's this movie I think you might like. I'm 12. He pops in Pulp Fiction. And then him and the other dude go right they go right into the split. Like, I'm in the living room of a trailer, and they just walk right in the kitchen and crunch up a can and poke holes in the top. And I'm like, oh, they're going to smoke some weed.
Sure.
Cool.
Nothing out of the
Then he
ordinary.
starts ashing his cigarette onto the top of the can. I'm like, what is this dude doing?
That's pretty.
And then someone starts heating up a spoon, and I'm like, oh, these dudes are doing crack. I already knew.
What was the cigarette ash for?
So it's as a base for them to light up the rock.
So it holds it down?
No.
It keeps it from
Holds
really,
it up, or
keeps it from getting sucked through so easily.
It
I
allows it to
believe.
heat and fucking. I would
Wow.
imagine.
I don't know.
I believe.
To be
I don't know.
blatantly honest with you, when I told you that at 35 I tried anything harder than marijuana, it wasn't crack. So I don't know.
Right.
But as a kid, I just remember, and I remember knowing, oh, that's crack, because they sold crack right there. I know this because 2 weeks prior, I watched a 12-year-old boy beat up a 37-year-old man with a pipe wrench because he stiffed his mom on some crack. So I know that there's crack, and I know what crack kind of is because I saw 80s documentaries.
Right.
The DARE officer was like, this is crack. And I was like, why do you have it?
Yeah.
What are you
Why
doing
did you
with
bring it here?
Who sold it to
You brought crack into the school? Out of your
Arrest this
fucking
man.
mind?
Yeah.
All right.
You're in
So
trouble.
is that what happened?
guys.
So you watched
So-
Pulp Fiction?
So the first time I ever watched Pulp Fiction,
Was watching
there
two
was just
cholos
two
guys?
dudes. Yeah, two dudes just fucking smoking crack and then just sitting down and watching the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just regular crackheads, so
Yeah.
they didn't like, go all crazy. But yeah, that was the first memory that I have. That's the first time I ever saw Pulp Fiction.
So anytime you see like a poster or anything, you're like,
Automatically. It takes me back to like that time. Kind of memories for me are like that, where if I remember something or go through that memory a lot, it kind of brings it into the present, if that makes sense.
No, it's like music.
But
like,
some of
yeah.
those core ones that are like,
You ever-
I'm right. Every time I watch Pulp Fiction, I'm right there, and someone's doing crack in the kitchen.
You ever hear the band? You ever hear the band the Mountain Goats?
No.
This is a really cool band. Anytime I hear them, I'm always like, I'm like back in Ireland. Like,
Oh, shit.
yeah, just because I was listening. I only had one album downloaded on my iPod, and that was one of the. And I just
one of those ones you just take a
listen
trip.
to, and it takes me back to that.
Good art in any format, in any media, I think is like that.
Right.
Lee and I are reading a book right now, and it's a series of books by a sci-fi author named Roger Zelazny.
Who's reading it?
Both of us. So we take turns.
Wait,
Yeah,
who's reading it, or
chapters.
who's?
You're reading it out loud.
I've read the book. I've read this book a couple of times. I read it when I was younger, and I've read it a couple times since.
Right.
It's in its own way, it's like bigger than Lord of the Rings, if you can imagine that. The world that it presents and stuff is so in depth.
Or maybe okay.
It's
So
so
like
crazy. So it's
the
more,
world within it's
Yes,
it's written
within
in
it.
is
Yes,
bigger
yes,
than
yes,
Lord
yes,
of the
yes.
Okay.
And at the time, Roger Zelazny, the author, in sci-fi and fantasy, was kind of on the same level as like those writers. He was a really prolific
Well, like
writer.
J.R. Tolkien and like or whatever. Like
Definitely.
Like,
But
from
he
the
was in
same
a
time?
later- no, he was on a slightly later generation. Like those guys served in World War II, and they did
And
most
C.S.
of the
Lewis,
writing
who wrote like the
Yep.
Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, they both were in World War II, right? Because both
Right.
of those books are very allegorical to
Whatever the
war
current.
in England and bullshit. Nothing anybody here on this podcast wants to hear about.
Right.
Fuck those fucking limeys, Brits.
Right. and
Right?
Nazis and
Because
whatever.
here's another interesting thing about my family sides. They all trace back to pre-1775 America. Like my family's
can't even
come
imagine.
from different countries, but all of my roots
Excuse me.
were here before.
Right.
And it was all like from Tennessee and North Carolina, immigrated from, in my case, it was mostly Scotland and Ireland and Wales at
Right.
the time. But they,
A real cornucopia of race.
well, nobody won that race.
Right.
we all got to America, and we're all,
We're
shit,
white as fuck.
fuck. We gotta build this place too. Everybody's
so-
gotta build this shit.
I really would never in a billion million years want to cut
But you have
anything
to.
short. But only because like we typically don't ever go over an hour and a half. And we want you back on the show so fucking bad.
Yeah, bro. Do you have time for one more? I want to tell you real quick a prison story.
We have time for two more because I want to tell the story about Lee, about how we cut it off. We cut ourselves off because we started talking about something else.
If that time is for you to talk about Lee, I'll save my story for the next time.
No, we can
Please.
tell both stories.
Okay,
This
I
is
want to
like-
make sure.
When you guys were homeless and living behind the theater,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you guys had found
We found a mattress.
a
So
mattress.
behind the mattress store, I will say there was a mattress. Lee and I have a saying: we're gypsies. We're
Right.
not tramps or thieves, right?
Right.
We don't steal from anybody. We don't take shit from people. We don't break into places. But on the occasion that you leave some free shit out that's still in good condition, I used to be a side load trash truck driver,
Right,
right?
right.
We all been to the dump.
Yeah,
So Lee sees this mattress and she's like, "Man, that would be really nice to sleep on instead of that hard ass, cold ass, freezing ass ground." I'm like, "Yeah."
So it's
So
a winter
we-
time.
Yeah, so we go in to the place and we tell them like, "Hey, we saw a discarded mattress out back. Do you mind if we take it?
Yeah.
We're homeless. Do you mind if we just have it?" And shout out to these two gangsters because they said, "What mattress?" Didn't even wink. Just gave me the straight eye, and I was like,
Very
"Well,
well.
there's a." And they're like, "We don't know anything about any mattress." I'm like, "Cool, man. Thank you guys." So we loaded up in the back of the Tahoe, and on the way down there, Lee's like, "I don't think that's gonna fit in the tent." I'm like, "You're right, it's not."
But you couldn't sleep in the Tahoe because the Tahoe was too cold.
in the wintertime, so if you become
It's like an
displaced,
icebox.
yeah, it's like an
Yeah.
icebox. And if you have enough, so maybe that mattress would have given us enough, like, fucking insulation, but we didn't. We had read everything we had read said sleep on something warm on the ground
Right.
because of the lack of that. So, and being right by the river, it gets super cold right there. you
Oh
know?
yeah. Right.
So we get this fucking mattress back, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's definitely not gonna fit in this Ozark Trail tent that we have. It's
That ain't gonna fit in
four-person Ozark Trail
here."
tent." Shout out to Walmart holding homeless people down left and right.
Right.
So, for real, quality gear at quality prices.
Can I
Fuck Walmart,
can I
but
tell
buy
the
their
can I tell
products.
the last part of it?
Please do.
Because I heard this last night. I thought
Right?
if I ever so Lee and I don't know each other personally, and we've come to know we're getting closer with this trip and everything. But like when I heard that, I thought to myself, this is the kind of person I want in my life to be able to think outside the box like this. So Lee says, there's no way that this mattress is going to fit inside of this tent. But what if, Scott, we dig a perimeter and bury this mattress as deep as it'll reach, and then we put the tent over the mattress.
Over the top.
Dude,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Bird
my
bro.
wife,
genius.
my girl went Sylvester Stallone fucking
Fucking
over the top.
Over the top.
And let me tell you what it did.
Put her
for
hat on backwards.
Let me
Said-
tell you, turn the hat around, switch the grip.
Said,
and fucking
switch. Bam. Beat that ass.
It was so fast that they had to play it for me in slow-mo, her win. Because immediately...
Atta girl.
Now, who dug
Atta
the
girl.
You guys know.
Who
Now
dug
listen,
the hole?
I dug the. You want me to tell them a story about when I was digging the hole? So I'm digging the hole for this thing. So I've mapped out, and I'm good fucking PD FMI fucking stock.
Right, yeah, you're
I
digging
know
a
how
hole.
to dig a fucking hole. So I've measured this thing out and I've lined it out and I'm digging it down, and this is a pretty good sized mattress, so I got to dig it fucking deep, and I'm digging with not the best shovel in the world. And Lee's really excited about this work because we are literally building a camp. We are
Right,
literally, we
right.
have a clearing now. I've made a brush fence. Like, we have a home.
Right.
So she's like excitedly like, "Oh man, yeah, we're doing this work." And so at some point I had to tell her like, "Hey, I get that for you this is an adventure, but for me, this is just fucking work,
It's
honey.
work.
And it's
Right.
getting fucking hard right now." So either pick up a fucking shovel, right, or
Or-
cheerlead over there for a minute.
Right.
'Cause goddamn, she's like, you're so great at this, and I'm like, fucking hell. Every part of my back's like digging into frozen river ground. But we set that thing and stretched the tent over, and then we put a little, tarp for an entrance. And from that night on, we slept a lot warmer than we ever would have.
Right.
From that, and then blankets that were donated from some people there in Safford and
The
shit
church
like
or
that.
whatever. So
No, it was specifically a guy named Ray Baca that I knew from high school.
wow.
Do you know his sister's name's Christina White? They went to our high school. She's a little bit older than us.
Christina
and
White.
you
She
know her
related
husband.
to a. Oh, never mind.
I'll tell you later. I'll
But,
show you
but I want to
later.
hear more. But now you said
Yeah.
The second exit story was going to be a prison story.
Oh, so
So
yeah.
we're gonna- oh,
So-
Lee, you're a badass. We love you very much.
So this
Love
story,
you, Mary.
I promised Lee I would tell the story because it's one of her favorite stories. It's actually, I've morphed this into kind of a little stand-up bit too that I plan on doing. But this is just a story about the 3 stupidest things that I've ever personally heard in my life.
Awesome.
And they all occurred in prison. So I want to tell you these 3 stories real quick. The first happened to me in Yazoo City, Mississippi. So in federal prison, they have a TV room. And to watch TV in these TV rooms, you have to purchase a radio, get earbuds, and then you tune to certain frequencies that those transponders are set
Really?
to for the TV. Right.
So they don't have it on.
Fuck no. If you had that volume like that, everybody would kill each other within 10 minutes. That's why county jails rock all the time, right? Because it's just loud volume all the time and people yelling and arguing. So, and the TVs are the stuff you watch on TV is selected by committees from within those inmates and all that stuff. So it's pretty scheduled except for during the day.
Or like
'Cause everyone's at
football or whatever.
There are dedicated sports TVs. There are usually a couple dedicated news TVs, and then there are movie TVs that only like watch movies and shit. And then
that
there are
sounds like
TVs that
way-
watch like this TV's always gonna have all of them are gonna have American Idol when it first comes out. The new shit.
Prisoners
the new
give a
shows,
fuck about American Idol.
prisoners will fight you to the death over who gets fucking voted off American Idol.
Are you
homeboy.
fucking with me right now?
Oh boy, no.
They ain't got
Homie,
nothing better to
listen,
do, man.
there are a dedicated group of prisoners who will fight you every day if they come in that fucking TV room at 11 a.m. and you don't turn The Young and the Restless on because that shit's on every day.
The Young and the Restless.
Every day they watch their stories, and every day ain't gonna change because your piddly ass try to come in and watch curling or some shit
Or
on
The
this TV,
Office.
homeboy.
Is The Office popular in prison?
No, I never watched it in prison. That's one of the shows I didn't watch till I got out.
Okay.
We never watched
They're
it.
not
So
fans of
Thursday night, consequently, probably America's Got Talent or something like that was on. That was a big enough draw that we didn't even
Care or
didn't
whatever.
even know
whatever.
about it. Yeah, it was in prison. It's one of those things. If you don't experience it in there, you just don't know about it.
Right. May as well not even fucking
Yeah.
exist.
So I'm in this place, and you hear a lot of stupid shit. So only to set the scene, I'm sitting in this fucking TV room. I'm the only guy other than the 2 guys in front of me. The whole place is empty, and we're sitting there watching daytime TV. So it's probably like fucking Cops or the equivalent, right?
Right.
And every time a commercial comes on, people take their headphones off. You guys get that just doing
Oh,
podcasts.
sure,
Like,
right.
boom. I'm not listening to them, so I'm going to pull them off, and then they'll talk to their homeboy. Or if they're total assholes, they'll just yell above the fucking volume on their headphones, because that happens too. But so these guys aren't assholes. So they have their headphones off and they're chatting. And a commercial comes on the TV for the smoking cessation drug Chantix. You've
Okay.
seen the commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the
Everything.
first one that came out though, so it's this chick, and she's like, this guy's like, I tried everything to quit smoking. I tried the gum, I tried the patch, I even tried cold turkey. Nothing worked.
Yeah, I remember these.
So the dude on my left side there, right in front of me, he turns to his friend and says, how the fuck is eating cold turkey gonna make me quit smoking? Now instantly his buddy looked at him, and then he looked all the way around. You know when they say someone cranes their neck? He looked all the way around to make sure that he wasn't the only one that heard this shit. He looked right at me. I shrugged because there's nothing else I could do.
Yeah,
I shrugged.
right. What the fuck are you gonna say?
He turned back around, put his headphones back on, and just sat there. He didn't even answer that.
No, yeah, we're not gonna dignify
Not even
this.
dignify that. So that's one of the second thing was a purposeful thing. So I was getting ready to come back in. This was in Mississippi as well. And I'm getting ready to come back in from the yard, and it's fall time. So there are geese that are migrating.
Right.
And I'm waiting on the yard gate to open, and off to my right and in front of me, there are 2 older hillbillies.
Okay.
Now that's not a derogatory term out there. That's just who they were. They're
Right.
from the hills.
No, I come from hillbilly
Yeah.
bloodline.
So one of them's a little bit older than the other, and they're looking up at these fucking geese. And he says to this guy, he says, "You see them ducks?" And the kid's like, "Uh-huh." He says, "You see how they're in that V?" And he said, "Yep." He said, "You see how one side of that V is longer than the other side of it?" And the kid says, "Yeah." And he said, "You know why?" And the kid says, "You know, I always have wondered why." And that motherfucker looked at him dead in the eye and said, "There's more ducks in it."
That was it.
I'm going to let that soak in for a minute. And that kid said, "Huh.
Huh.
Huh."
Somebody's eating duck.
So that was the second.
Somebody's
That's the
eating
second
duck,
stupidest thing I ever heard. And then the third I didn't hear with my own eyes. It came from a buddy of mine. His name, we call him Mr. Wonderful. He's this little short Boston Irish cat from the 70s, man. And he says Holmes a lot. And he does his hands like this. So he's a whole experience.
Right.
But the first time I met this dude, he's taking me around, introducing me to the other guys in the unit. He's like, "Yeah, home, I'm coming over here. And this here's my friend Walker." And there's like two guys standing there playing pinochle on the top of a locker. And one's got a long gray beard. And the other guy looks like Alan Alda from MASH. Looks like fucking Hawkeye
right.
Pierce.
Hawkeye.
Dude.
Yeah.
And it's just as tall and everything. And so he's like, "These are my friends. This here's Walker and this here's Brad." And Brad looks at me and goes, "Some people call me Cool Brad." And Walker goes, Nobody calls you that. And he goes, "Some people do." "Who?" "You don't know him." This dude said. So from then on till the time I left, I called that guy Cool Brad.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
fuck that. That guy's stuck with his story. But since I've appropriated that name. But so Mr. Wonderful, he's got this real thing. So he's telling me one time, I'm telling him about the TV room incident.
Yeah.
I'm like, this motherfucker said,
Right.
He's like, "Oh, you think that's bad, home? I was in Hobbycraft one time." He said, and this guy comes in. He's an older guy. He sees a black guy. He said, and he's telling me, he says, "Hey, Mr. Wonderful, can I ask you a question?" And he's like, "Sure, whatever you want." He's like, "You promise you won't laugh at me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I promise I won't laugh at you." What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, I'm trying to get this question answered, but everybody that I ask keeps laughing at me. And so I don't really want to ask it, but I was still wondering." And so my buddy tells him, he said, "I won't laugh at you. What's your question?" So this guy looks at him dead in the eye and says, "Where does the sun go at night?" And my buddy Mike looks at him back and goes, "I don't know, where?" And he said, "See, that's what I'm fucking talking about. Every time that I try to ask this question, people make a joke of it." But this dude seriously wanted to know.
I had no idea.
So Mike's like, it hits me, and then I felt bad, so I apologized. "Hey, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean, I thought you were making a joke. Like, I thought you were trying to get me."
Right.
So he thinks about starting to try to explain to this dude where the sun goes at night. And he goes, "All right, you get that the earth goes around the sun." And the guy goes, "I get that." He goes, "Okay. And you get that," he's like, you know, like, he's explained to him how it's going to come in. He's like, "I get all the, yo. I get all that, Mr. Wonderful. What I'm saying is, like, where does it go?" And he's like, "All right, you notice how the sun comes up in the east, but it goes down in the west." And this dude loses his shit, and he's like, "I get all that. What I'm saying is, how the fuck does it get back to the east without me seeing it?" So my buddy, Mr. Wonderful, just turned and walked away. I asked him, I'm like, "What'd you tell him?" He's like, "Nah, I just fucking walked away, huh? I don't fucking know what it's."
I don't tell that fucking guy. If you can't wrap your mind around that,
He said, "Well, how's it get back to the west without me fucking seeing it?" And Mike said, "No."
nah.
That's what
This
you tell
is
him.
far too deep for
That's
me
when
to.
you tell him, well, the god of the sun.
I mean, at that
Well,
point, you got a free, an open
just-
palette to
yeah,
run
yeah,
with it all you
open
want.
Yeah, you've got days of
But so
explaining.
just remember that.
this
Just remember to, if
ridiculous
you're listening to this, if
story.
you ever have a question that you feel too stupid to ask, there are people who have asked and demanded answers to far more stupider questions than you've ever done. They really fuck the dog.
So they really fucked the dog. Thank you for wrapping that up.
I do what I can.
Is there anything that we want to say to anybody before we go?
Fucking, for me, I know I talked a lot because that's the, I guess the.
Oh,
purpose of
you're
this
our
fucking
guest.
thing. But
Right.
thank you guys, for all of you guys, man. You guys came up here, the four of you, like a fucking.
I hope I was easy on you.
No, you guys were great, man. I mean, I'm from Lebanon, so
Right.
at some point, you know what I mean? I'll just fucking go to bed or drive the cool thing about living in a house like mine is you just drive that motherfucker away.
Right. Go home. Go to bed.
I've taken my whole house away from people they've never seen me again.
Right.
Think about that next time.
Think
Next
about
time you
that.
have-
Think
if
about
you-
that.
If
Think
you're
about-
out
think
there
about that.
and you're kidless and you're poor, maybe live in a van.
Yeah, it's not
a
that
bad
bad of
idea.
an idea. Lee, is there anything you wanted to say? And think, Lee.
I got a van.
You want
Lee.
Lee? You want to get on?
live.
You want to get on camera and
She
say anything?
doesn't.
Down
She's a
by
piece
the
of shit.
river.
She
Come
won't
on,
get
Lee,
this
say
camera. Get over
something.
here. Like
Make-
half the
make an
people that are gonna listen to
appearance.
this know you anyway, man.
Come on, say something.
You gotta put the headphones on.
Do you want to put the headphones on?
Yeah, she's gotta put these on, bro. Oh my god, that's.
So everybody knows
I'm too
she
short,
is
I can't
older
see
than
me
she
over the
looks.
table.
Oh yeah,
not.
Lee, how old are you?
23. I'm turning 24 September 27th.
All right. Well, is there anything you wanted to say? Can you hear us properly?
gotta
Does it sound different than you've been listening to all evening?
How tall are you?
I am 4'10".
4'10".
Yeah.
For, and
For
you,
life.
Did you say you're from Boston, or you lived in Boston?
So yeah, I it's a crazy story because my parents are Air Force, so they're military, so we moved all over. But I was born in Utah, moved to Boston, Massachusetts, lived there for a little bit, moved to Virginia, lived there for a little bit, moved to Maryland, lived there for a little bit, then moved to Colorado, lived there until I moved to Phoenix when I was like 18, 19.
Wow. Is there anything you wanted to say to anybody? Is there anybody you want to shout out to?
Um,
Lee, thank you so much for having us. Thanks for paying for breakfast this morning. Thanks for everything.
I-
You guys have been such wonderful fucking hosts. I'm so taken back by all of it. I really am for hosting me and Jason and Mary and our nephew Matt. Thank you so much.
No, you guys are amazing. I'm so thankful to just be here. I'm so thankful you let Scott talk to her.
Oh, we love hearing Scott talk.
He's got so many stories, and I can't wait for next time already.
Oh yeah, we'll do episode 2. All right. Well, an episode 2 with him would be awesome. So, do you have anything to say, Jason?
Nah, it's been great, man.
Yeah, it has been. Mary, you got anything? I think we're all okay. We're gonna sign off here. All right.
Signing off.
Sign on. We love you guys so much. Wait. What's that? What? Okay. 1, 2, ready, and go.